Gonna start on time today.
Yeah.
I call this meeting to order. It is 8:15 a.m. on Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Any discussion?
Nope. I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And the consent agenda, starting with the minutes of their January 27th meeting. Any comments, any notes?
Nothing for me.
Nothing from.
Okay, I will move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, yeah, and that included approval of the claims as well.
Yes.
Right. Anyone wishing to address the commission may speak now in our public comment open period. I'll hold for a moment here in case anyone's on Zoom. Just getting seated. I'm seeing no one in the room. Looks like.
Yeah, online we have John who's, I think he's here, talk about the IRU if there's any questions for the wood detail, and of course Brian Heinrich is listening with PSE.
Awesome. Well, John, we look forward to hearing from you a little further down the meeting. And Brian, if you want anything you want to let us know now or later in the meeting, we'll have another moment. So
If he has anything during the telecoms discussion, agreement discussion, so. He might have something.
okay, yeah. If during, I'll accept like during an agenda item, if you raise your hand, we would accept comment at that time on an agenda item. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, fine with me.
Okay.
It's pertinent to the telecom one.
All right, well then we'll close public comment and move to general manager report, Mr. Heimgartner.
Oh, I've got a bunch of stuff today. I spent a couple of days down at PPC last week, and the number one topic, of course, was Administrator Hairston being scalped by eWeb so he ended his Bonneville career and he's moving down to Eugene Electric, the electric board. The PPC held an executive meeting. Well, they had a couple of them that were kind of urgently called, and put together a list of qualifications that Public Power would like to see in the next administrator. And I believe I forwarded that to all of you, and it was a nice, concise list, a really great letter that covered it, and we have no idea how they're going to go about filling the next administrator. I guess that's the bottom line. It's up to the administration, and so we tried to put our thumb on the scale a little bit to get somebody that had, experience in Northwest Public Power, was kind of a known commodity, and was aware of the environmental issues that are happening here in the Northwest that are unique in the United States. So that was one of the big topics. The other big topic was the Columbia River litigation that's going on right now. So just as a reminder, the litigation was pended after the Six Sovereigns Agreement was signed, and now that bell has been unrung, the plaintiffs sued for a preliminary injunction, and the injunction that was requested would be greatly increased spill early in the year, draw down reservoirs for the summer. There's a number of other things on there from a public power perspective, and from, frankly, an irrigation and flood control and every other perspective. This would be pretty much counter to the region's interests, and it would be pretty harmful. And so PPC weighed in with, here as an amicus, they weighed in with, here are some of the costs of this new proposed spill, and it's about $150 million hit to Bonneville. And as another reminder, Bonneville burned through their reserves last year because the water levels were so low, and had to have a special levy on all of us customers to write the budget, and this would make that much worse. So anyway, we pointed that out. The judge, in kind of my opinion, I'm not an attorney, but kind of a surprise move, said that he was inclined to grant the preliminary injunction, but that he would not that instead he was relying on the parties to go back and negotiate all those items where they could reach agreement, and then provide him options on the items where they could not reach agreement. And he was really blunt and said, look, if you give me a yellow answer and the other party gives me a blue answer, I will choose yellow or blue. And I will not try and split the baby. And he would try and make the most reasonable choice. So it's kind of on the parties now to, number one, get together. And I think he gave him a couple weeks. I didn't read the ruling, but he was not going to just rule from the bench. He was going to actually have a regular litigation. Yes, sir.
So, on the, leaving of, John Hairston,
Yeah.
are you done with that topic yet, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things, compliance is something that, of course, we need to continue to do and advance the interest with regards to the policy around dams. I understand all that. What I've seen over the years is a caution with new sources. I think that the standard default statement from managers and commissioners in the PUD community is, let's rely more on Energy Northwest. But, and that's a perfectly fine, safe statement. But the reality is there's things that that BPA can do also to make it easier to develop new supply and new sources. And something I'm looking for, and I know I'm one of on this commission, and then of course we're small in the world of public power. But I don't think I'm speaking incompatibly with what other commissioners want, and that is that I'd like to see us have a leader at Bonneville who is more seriously looking at new sources and demands from the PUD community a tool set so that he as a director can trade new transmission, new sources, types of actions that support new sources and new transmission that too often the PUD community wants their cake and eat it too, meaning that they don't want to deal with any rate increases on the one hand, and they want new sources. So I want a director who is going to help the PUD community get past that stuck point. Just wanted to share that.
Well, as a reminder, the Bonneville Power Administration is a power management agency. They don't actually own any generation, and so they're an enabler for new generation, but
Right.
not necessarily procure or producer
For
of
sure.
new generation.
There's a lot they can do to help.
So the third topic there is that PPC, which very much relates to this, and it's also a separate topic that I urge you guys to take a look at, was transmission and the transmission constraints, the problems with the queue. And that was really highlighted in the West Tech study, which was just published this week.
Oh, it did get published this week.
Yeah, and I understand you're a little behind on your emails.
Yes, I am.
Forwarded everything to you all.
Okay, great.
And in fact, I think I did it 3 or 4 different times. One of them was paywalls, my apologies. But I was able to forward some kind of open, so you can take a look at the presentations that were made by West Tech and also the complete study. And it's parts of it were, speaking as a technical person, pretty alarming. It was basically one of those things where if all of the planned transmission, which is, oh, forgive me if I don't remember the numbers, I think it was 11,000 miles out of the 16,000 that was identified in the West Tech study. All of that transmission that's currently planned and sponsored needs to be built in the 10-year window, and almost none of it has broken ground right now. It's all in the preliminary planning. And without that, the system is woefully constrained and possibly unstable. And so in addition to the, as I recall, it was 11,000 miles, there was another 4,000 or 5,000 miles of new transmission that was required by the West Tech study. And in their 10-year window, that was a very conservative set of assumptions. In other words, it maximized conservation in DR, minimized data center growth. You know, it really made a bunch of assumptions to make it as benign as possible from the transmission perspective, and then ended up with a whole bunch of transmission that still needed to be built. And then the 20-year study will come out in September, and that will be stuff right now that's not on the books for anybody. So it's gonna be, it's one of those things where the other thing I will say is it is a self-regulating environment. If there simply is no resource to match the load, we'll either stop hooking up or we'll have rotating blackouts. Those are kind of the two options, and that may be where this is headed. I think that it'll get almost to that point, and then we'll figure out some emergency Band-Aid to kind of limp through. That's been our history. So any questions on the West Tech study?
Super depressing, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, yeah.
Well, you asked me how things were going
Yeah.
this morning. I didn't give you an uplifting answer, but
I do have back to the Columbia River issues, so increased, they want increased spill to help with fish
Fish.
runs.
Mhm.
How does that, I mean, the Columbia River, especially, like, it has plenty of water for fish runs, does it not?
I think
guess
that's
I-
a matter of opinion.
Okay,
And my understanding is if you spill as much as they're asking, you'll increase the oxygen level, the DO level too high in the river, and you'll actually kill fry. So I really don't understand the plaintiff's request. But it's basically to spill and a lot, starting in the spring, and draw down the reservoirs so that they are at a very low level during the summer.
so
I
in
do not
summertime,
understand
when
it.
we need more energy, we will have less.
That's correct.
Energy. Also depressing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why, I kind of agree with PPC's perspective on the whole thing, but on the other hand, I'm not a fish biologist, and I don't understand fully that side of it, and.
So maybe you know the answer, maybe you don't, I'm just thinking out loud. But if the sovereign agreement stood, would that have been the same plan?
No, that would be for removal.
Yeah, that would go
Long
to the
term.
Snake River Dam removals.
That was a long-term plan, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Would the transition be the same?
Yeah.
It was like, it was a.
Good question.
Okay,
I don't know the answer to that. And I suspect that whatever answer you get will depend on the perspective of the person you ask.
sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So, Department of Ecology is holding 4 meetings actually, 3 physical meetings and a virtual meeting on geothermal energy in the state. And one of their physical meetings is in Bellingham, and it's next Thursday night, and I'll be attending that. Mike Malden will also be attending from the Nooksack tribe, and I think we'll make a nice one too. But both of our purposes is to listen and find out, is there any broad-based community support, resistance, what are the issues, that kind of thing.
So on geothermal, we're gonna talk about.
We're gonna have a geothermal update,
Yeah.
but that's
What day was that?
What day was that? Could you send us?
Thursday night. Yeah, I think it all went to all you guys. You probably deleted it from spam, but you're all on the list. It went to all the PD commissioners.
Okay.
I'll
I
be
can
wrestling.
forward it again, but
What time is it Thursday night?
5:30 to 7:30.
Cool. I just missed the time there.
On this 26th. I thought it was 26th. Okay, next Thursday, right?
No, that would be the Thursday after, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so 2 weeks. My apologies.
Okay, so after our next meeting.
The next week, next Tuesday, another topic. Phillips 66 has moved their community, I forget what they call it. It's a CAP, community action, I don't know what. But it's a meeting of community leaders that they have held quarterly for decades. And it is always held every the second and fourth Tuesday of the month in the morning. And Brian and Steve before me and Brian and I, and then I was given an annual feedback that, we'd love to be there, but we can't attend because you always hold it during our commission meeting. So they moved it, and it's next Tuesday night. And it is by invitation only, and they've invited me, and
And that's,
And you will be going to the Nooksack.
no, I'm going to this. They moved this at my
Okay.
request.
Okay.
so you're not coming to the next
I'm
segment?
not gonna be able to be at the next second.
Okay.
Oh, it's at the same time.
And then next Thursday, this was. Where am I?
I'm sorry, Chris, sorry to interrupt. Will Kurt be able to go to the next second meeting for us?
Well, Andrew will be able to be
Or
there.
Andrew, so, oh, sorry.
Okay, so you'll be lead staff?
You'll be, yeah,
Yes.
Sorry, buddy.
Andrew will be there.
Oh, yeah, and you'll be there too, Lisa, yeah. Yeah. And we should extend apologies, but yeah, unfortunately, something came up and we'll say that. Yeah,
I'll let Mike know. You can let his folks know. Next Thursday, I'll be leaving here Wednesday afternoon and heading down to Shelton, the West Side Managers, which is a subgroup of the Laputa managers. They're meeting 3 times a year, and the first meeting this year is next Thursday, and it goes until about 2 in the afternoon. So I'll be home Thursday night. A quick update on the Ferndale Grandview consolidation issue that we've talked about. The city of Ferndale struck out with the USDA, and which I found kind of curious. I wasn't sure why they were going there in the first place, but so Rebecca has done a little bit of research, and I as well, and we've gotten a quote from Dave Olson on what a consolidation study would cost. And I'm gonna forward to Ferndale the Department of Health contacts and their website location to apply for a grant to do a consolidation study, same way we do it. I guess Ferndale just hasn't done enough of these, and they're really familiar with writing grants and all that, just not this particular type of grant, so. I just need to direct them to the right source, and then it's up to them, they can do it or not. Any questions on that? And then last but not least, part of our communication strategy has been a significant upgrade of our website. And so we're about to embark on a new website vendor, and Lisa's going to be doing a complete rebuild, and I'd like to call on Lisa to talk a little bit about it.
Good morning, commissioners. So we have, at this point, migrated all of our information over in preparation of going live with the new site, and I don't, it's not at a ready state. Chris was like, oh, maybe you could give them a little presentation. It's not quite ready for that, because we're doing a lot of remapping and around them. Anything that I show you, you'll be like, why is there pet registration in there? There's some placeholders that don't look quite right. So, but just to give you an idea, there's a few things that I think that are gonna make huge improvements. There's some large button icons that will go across the main home page, which is one of the things that people have asked about, and they're customizable. So when we have a bid opening or when we're hiring, those kind of things, we could change them. And we have a lot of options. There's a meeting section, which is gonna make and a calendar. So that's gonna make our meetings more easily accessible, and the documents, agendas, minutes, etc. And also, I think something that's gonna be a big deal is there's gonna be expandable sections. I don't know if you've spent much time on our website, but you do a lot of scrolling, because there's a lot of information and you just have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. So that's gonna go away with these, expandable options of being able to, expand and collapse things that you are interested in, and not having to read through all of it to get to what you're looking for. And there's also, this is just something that kind of struck me as I was going through the training this last week, and there's a land acknowledgement portion that can be turned on or off. And I don't know if that's something you guys have ever talked about, but it was something I wanted to mention and make you aware of. So right now, of course, it's off, but if it's something that we want, we can turn it on and put our wording in there if we were to choose to do it. There's also a document section.
talk about it. Before we go live with it, we should specifically.
Well, we can do it at any time, right? Right now, you don't know that it's not there, it's just off. So absolutely, that's just why I'm bringing it to your attention.
So when's the live date gonna be?
I don't have that for you yet. It's gonna be when we are happy with how it looks, because both contracts are currently running, so we've got time to move them.
So I'd like to propose we have a presentation before it goes live.
Sure.
A presentation, on the website?
Yes,
Okay, you wanna see what the contents?
Yes.
What do you specifically? Okay.
Do we need to do that in a meeting, or could we just, do that individually?
yeah, that'd be fine too. That'd be fine too. You could, do a test site,
Mhm.
load it and have us take a look at it, and
Yeah,
then.
I can do that.
And
Once
then
I
you have a
it ready
commission
for you to
meeting,
look
and
at.
then after the commission meeting, it's not a commission approval, but it is our public presence, so it doesn't matter to the commission.
Yep. There's also, a document section, so I think that's gonna be another really nice feature of people can go there and actually search, like, I wanna look at minutes, or I wanna look at financial documents or certain types of reports. And they'll be able to just sort and look at those as opposed to having to go to a page and find what they're looking for. They can go straight to that document section. I think is gonna be nice. And one of my favorite things about the site is that when a document gets updated, the link doesn't change. So right now, that's a huge, it's a huge time suck as far as like, every time there's a correction to a document or we have to update something, or the form is just new or whatever it is, the link is now broken. You have to make sure you know all the places that it's at, you have to correct it, and it's a mess. So this will just automatically keep that link and update the document. And also, if something gets removed, I can tell where it's been linked anywhere on the site, so we don't end up with any broken links. Like, there's random pages. Like, at one point, I didn't know that we had a separate page for special meetings until Peter was like, this isn't on the special meetings page, and I was like, what are you talking about? So it was like this hidden page that I didn't even know was there. So this way that we're gonna be able to know everything that's on there and clean up. But there's a lot of like little pages that can be maybe just a small expandable section, and so there's gonna be a lot of narrowing down of what's happening. So, and I will definitely make sure that you get a chance to take a look at it. Great.
Well,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Thank you, Lisa, for doing all that work. I think this is, this is great, to improve the navigability and thus the accessibility of, our business to the public, and, save you, sounds like to be, things that'll be time savers and headache savers for you.
Yeah,
And,
I wanna say is that, I use a website, and even I'm really happy, to see the next step.
Yeah.
But I wanna say that in the last couple of years, I've noticed some significant, since you've been engaged, some significant improvements, in user friendliness of the website over the last 2 years, for
I
sure.
think that we've done the best that we can with the product that we have.
So I'm looking forward to this next step, yeah.
Very excited, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd also be curious to take a look at it before it goes live. There was a couple things I'd found on the current website that I noticed were out of date and never wanted to bother you about, because it's like, oh, it's, who cares anyway. But
There were some things that I didn't know were out of date that I relied on, and then Annette would point out to me, "Oh, that's not right." I would pull information from there and she'd be like, "That's not right." And I'd be like, "Oh," it had been there, it was there when I came. And so hopefully it should all, like, every word will be looked at before it goes live again. So
totally, I trust you're gonna do it. It's
and we're
be
gonna
great.
have analytics, which is also gonna be new. We're gonna be able to tell what pages people are looking at the most, and that way we'll know this is a page we need to keep fresh, or this is, something that we need to make sure that we're, or if it changes, then, this is a topic of interest. We're also gonna have the ability to do, there's a contact us feature, which after spending some time with it, I figured out we could actually use that to ask questions. That's one of the things the commission has brought up before, is wanting feedback about something. We could actually turn that into a survey of sorts, right on the website using that. I mean, I've figured out kind of how I could take that contact us feature and actually turn it into a bit of a survey. So that would be a feature if you guys, next time something comes up that you wanna do that with. There's actually a poll feature, but it only allows choose one. But I can customize this other snippet, I think, to make it do more of what you guys have talked about in the past. So I think that would be something else that you guys will find useful moving forward.
That'd be really cool.
Well, obviously, when it's something new launches, there's a bunch of minor input that comes in. So how will you manage that? Do you want us to send emails? Is there some kind of other system because I don't want to bog up,
Well, I think especially with the three of you, part of the concern is, if we take individual feedback from you, we're not getting feedback from the board. So
It's not so much content. I'm talking about minor things, just operational things. Oh, this menu didn't open correctly or something like that. That kind of minor things.
Yeah, like if something's not.
Yeah, it always happens.
Yeah.
It never,
I think the, like, what, I don't wanna assume where Chris is going, but I think probably just for protocol and best practices, it's best for your feedback to me to go through Chris or through the GM. just because that's the standard practice of generally how we operate, even for those little things, just so that we keep that system in place.
Oh, right.
If you're okay with that, Chris?
Oh, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
That wasn't where I was going. I
Oh,
was just
sorry,
gonna try
okay.
and avoid a
No,
inadvertent
sure,
forum.
yeah, I'm not,
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about content so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
you
was
know,
talking more about bugs.
just ping me and I'll pass it through. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
when it comes to content, if you guys request something, then I will reflect back. That's nice. Let's talk about that in our next commission.
Okay.
And then we get
yeah.
direction board.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
that's
don't,
fine.
I think maybe that's just for me as a lifetime of public servant. Like I'm very used to that flow of like, you know, I work for him and he works for you. And so that, and that also comes from a little bit of that paramilitary structure that I'm used to, that my career is sort of grounded in like that chain of command. So I like to keep it that way if it's,
Okay, that's
if
fine.
everyone else is okay with that.
Which is most appropriate. And you know what, I'm just gonna, I'm not, yeah, we'll leave it to you to be, you know, if you wanna be the one to.
Oh, well, no, I wasn't trying to take that
Review or,
responsibility, but yes, I
If you
would.
come across something, please, I do wanna know. And if there's, and before that, if there are, parts of the website that you use the most, or you've spoken to constituents and you know that they use, like that's what they like to see, that's helpful to me, because right now I don't have access to any analytics of what's going on. I don't have anything reliable from the way the site is set up now. So I'm sort of guessing on what people might wanna look at or what we might wanna highlight, and I'm not guessing, that's based on the strategic plan. But if there are other things that maybe aren't highlighted there that you want to see highlighted in some way, please, I welcome that feedback as I'm restructuring it.
In previous commission meetings, we've wanted to try to improve how we do public notice.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
And so to have a matching page so that when we issue notices for hearing or something like that, it's very easy for the article, which we provide public notice to direct it to a page.
Yeah,
For
right now
us,
we use
which
like a news post sort of that.
That,
comes
which is
on the
fine.
Page.
I'm
But what I'm thinking is probably, and you'll have a better idea when you see it, but we have up to 6 of these buttons, so they're in thirds across the homepage. And up to 2 rows. So I would think that I would just create one that would be the first one that would say public notice.
Mhm.
And then we would move the others, like, you know, pay my bill is gonna be one, that's
Mhm.
something that, you know, staff wants to have easily accessible to, you know, the public. Bids is another one, like invitations to bid, of course, if we're hiring, that would be one, but I think, if we would only have it there when we have a public notice. The other option that we have is we actually have a pop-up that we can turn on, where when you load the page, as soon as you go to it, it's gonna open up and you're gonna have to close it to move on, and we could put other, you know, special meeting notices, hearing notices, that kind of thing. We could also turn that on temporarily for any kind of something that we're really trying to grab attention. I wouldn't do it for every meeting, because then people would just start ignoring it. You know, just there would pretty much always be one on there. We don't want that. It would just be in a special circumstance. And we could definitely use that as well.
I have a question,
Yeah.
because I live in the city of Blaine, I, am very familiar with their website, and you can subscribe to certain functions that you wanna see more of, so I subscribe to city council, so I get an email when they're having meetings or when they're having special meetings, and I subscribe to like the power outage. Utility thing, so I get emails when there's utility issues, do we have a subscribe function?
We do, and for the posts that we do, it would be for new posts, and those are based on the tags that we establish, like we have one, some are established based on previous things that we have up there, so like there's one for geothermal right now, there's one for, you know, meeting notices, and
So people can subscribe to those updates, that's great.
Mhm.
Some of us are nerdy and like our communication that way.
So yeah, that'll be a great feature to have.
Anything else, Lisa?
No, that's all I have, it's just thank you.
That's it for my report. Thank you.
Great.
Do we have Kurt in the house?
Yes, we do. Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
And now
In the
is the
house.
outbreak.
So, This is a time of year where we're just kind of moving into a lot of our capital projects and getting prepped up for a lot of that type of stuff, a lot of contracts and putting bids out on the street. But I do have one big piece of news, and that's we've offered a new water ops position to a candidate, and they'll be starting next month, and so that's exciting for our continued growth and continued changeover of our staff and just getting ready for the future. And so this person will be starting, I believe it's March 2nd.
Great.
Plan
Wow.
to bring them in here first
All right.
meeting this
Yeah,
week.
we'll bring them in. We like to do a show and tell with our new
Yeah.
employees.
Fantastic.
Look forward to meeting him.
Is the final design complete? Or,
For that one?
yeah,
No, I think we're waiting on our 90%, which is the next step.
Next step,
I
okay.
think that's scheduled for the end of next month currently.
Yeah, and we're ready, the calendar, I think, is for us to have, bid-ready drawings at the end of June, is that right?
No, that's a little soon. I think more like end of the year for bid
So-
ready.
last time we did the workshop about plant one. The next time for the commission to get a, update was, I think that was actually 90% drawings. So I just wanna make sure, Chris is in transition, so I just wanna make sure. Kurt, you stay on top of that for us.
Yeah.
Depending on when that happens.
For sure. Yeah, that's no problem.
And so just having another, special meeting. Where we'll go over the, plant in the, the, budget, how it lines up with the bonding, all of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good questions. Yeah, so we gave our 60% comments back to the engineers, and they take that in, and they have to move on to the next step and it gets way more detailed as we move to 90%. So yeah, when that next phase happens, I'll definitely keep you informed.
That's a good dialogue. At the right time, we'll have a special meeting
Mhm.
or just make space in the agenda.
Were you here when we did the special meeting? No, were you?
On plant one?
Yeah, no,
uh,
I think Todd was here. That was Todd.
Right.
Yeah, you weren't
right.
here, so it's
Yeah.
particularly important for. Yeah, it was a very, in-depth meeting. We did a lot of, discussion around it, and it impacted our strategic plan work and all that, so. Yeah, it'll be good meeting, good conversation.
Well, I guess, at the right time, we'll bring it up and set a date. So.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have for now.
Thanks, Kurt.
Great. Thanks, commissioners.
That's good. Old business,
Broadband,
yeah,
let's start there.
okay, so we're gonna do an update and then we're gonna take action on the IRU, so, John's on deck, but we'll start with Chris, and Andrew.
I'm just gonna kick it over to Andrew.
Okay,
Right, good morning. I don't see, is John still here?
John was here.
I think he's a panelist, right?
Yeah, he's-
Oh, he is here, okay, good, yeah, so, we're here to talk about the IRU, or the irrevocable right of use, if I got that right. Not a new idea, at all. Peter Schaaf has been very helpful in this regard and has had past experience working on IRUs in other jurisdictions around the state. It's also not a new idea to the funding agency, and essentially an IRU is a fancy way of saying a legal mechanism that allows us as a public entity to carry out the terms of the grant through a private sector internet service provider. And so we being the PUD and Woodby Tel, spent, I don't know, John, a few months negotiating back and forth the terms of this IRU, if not more, and we are still checking all the boxes, and we're still today on track to complete the project by the end of this year. So I'm excited about the IRU. I'll pass it over to John if you'd like to say a few words on the IRU, but essentially we are looking for commission approval to give the general manager the authority to enter into the IRU agreement with.
Not much to say is that Whidbey Tal is very excited about the project, and we're very very happy to help the citizens of Point Roberts get high-speed internet. So it'll be fast and furious, but we hope to be done by the end of the year.
Chair, there's a lot here from you, so I'd like your liberty here.
I figured, and I
Okay.
am very much welcome your analysis, insight, questions, comments, so
So if I may kick us
unless
off,
Jamie
okay?
has something
No,
you
go
wanna
ahead,
get.
kick us
okay.
off.
Please.
Okay, first, John, it's a pleasure to meet you. I don't think we've ever met.
We have not
Maybe-
met. So,
Yeah, and maybe in person sometime, it'd be great to have, when it's convenient for you and for us to, for the commission, for you to come in, maybe come to one of our commission meetings, or maybe an open house that we have this year or something. It'd be great to meet you. Obviously, our partnerships with ISPs are really important to us.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
And, you know, I'd like you to give us a little bit of background of how this project fits into your overall vision for the Point Roberts community.
Okay. Well, this project covers, I'm going to say, about half of the Point Roberts area, and our vision is to provide fiber to as many citizens as we can. You know, there's some culturally sensitive areas in Point Roberts, so those areas will be continuing to serve using our copper network. But we'd prefer to have a fiber network that provides gigabit speeds.
So the half that we're not helping you cover, how, is that going to be served with copper then exclusively, or?
No, the other half is Whidbey has put in fiber with their own investment dollars. We also have 2 grants from I call it RUS, and I'm trying to think of what RUS stands for, but Rural Utility Service. And
Federal level?
at federal level, correct.
From Senator Cantwell's office?
Our US, I think, is a USDA grant.
Okay.
Yes. So with those, with our money, with the 2 grants and this IRU agreement, we hope to serve the vast majority of Point Roberts.
So where's the is it gonna be the same backhaul, a backbone for the 2 halves? Or is it gonna be 2 different backhaul points?
It would be the same backhaul.
And what is that point of
Okay,
access?
well, there's 2 areas. We now have 2 lease lines that go to Point Roberts. One through the I-5 corridor, other one through, I believe it's Victoria Island. But we have a NTI, a middle grant that is going to take it from Whidbey Island all the way up to Point Roberts. So it'd be
And that's the thing you got from Senator Cantwell's office.
that's the one, yes. Yeah, they're a very big help in getting the grant.
So with all these things coming together, is it fair to say that in some ways Point Roberts will switch from being largely islanded in so many important ways? Obviously, that community suffered tremendously during COVID. Is it wishful thinking on my part, or it was actually substantive to say that these multiple points of backhaul, as well as this public funding, could actually bring Point Roberts in some ways ahead of the rest of Whatcom County?
I'm not familiar with Whatcom County, with the rest
Okay.
of it, other than Point Roberts.
In terms of connectivity speeds and fiber as a percentage of community, it sounds like a lot of people are gonna get fiber as a result of this funding.
Yeah, that's correct.
And a lot of us don't have it yet.
And a lot of us in Whatcom County don't have it. I mean, Andrew, if you can help with this number, but the percentage of penetration in Whatcom County is what, 30%?
For fiber?
Yeah. 20, 30? Maybe less?
I think it's probably roughly there, probably a little less than that.
So I'm imagining you're gonna be 50% or better on in Point Roberts as a result of this project.
Yes, that'd be correct.
And, okay, so I just wanted to cement that, this is a big thing. We had some issues with, have those issues been cleared up with the archaeological, we got clearances?
Yes and no.
Mostly, yes?
Well, most of the issues dealt with ground disturbing activities, and the redesign that we've done eliminates almost all the ground disturbing activities. We have to go through a second consultation with the tribe and DAP, and frankly, they can reject this for arbitrary and capricious reasons, and there's nothing to do about that.
So this is a tentative agreement, the IRU in that sense, correct?
I think the question you're asking is, are there off ramps in the IRU?
Yeah.
Should one of these things get hit? And I think the answer there is yes.
Okay. And would we tell it, you understand that, right?
Yes.
That's part of the reason why the negotiations between the parties took so long, was to iron out those kinds of details.
The commission established a little over a year ago, maybe almost. I don't remember, actually, let's see. When did you start? When did Christine leave? That was
Almost 2 years ago.
2 years ago, about 2 years ago, we established some policy guidelines. For agreements. One of the things that we struggled with for a long time was whether we could do an IRU at the PUD. And when did we cross the bridge to know that we could actually, because our legal, well, we had concerns about whether we could do IRU. And then we got to the point, and I remember when we decided we could actually go through and execute an IRU ourselves.
It was right up front. So the issue was, as long as we don't create the asset, then we never own it, and so the transferring at the end of the IRU is irrelevant. And that was constructed right up front, so that was, I don't know, 18 months ago, 24 months, whenever we first started talking about this.
Yeah, I think there was before that 18 months that we were concerned whether we could do an IRU.
Oh, yeah, well, and because we were modeling the IRU, we were thinking about modeling it the same way the port does. And the port doesn't need a vote of the people to liquidate an asset at the end of its life.
Yeah, okay, I remember that, thank you.
And that was the distinction.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a legal issue that I'm familiar with, didn't have so much to do with authority and power to do the IRU, but it was this common structure, which is how to deal with the asset at the end and some special rules in the PUD laws for disposition of an asset at the end.
One of the things that we identified as far as policy guidance for the IU was the ability to be able to provide, carry-on funding for, support as it relates to digital equity. That wasn't, something that, we actually passed a resolution to that effect. And, I don't see that reflected in the IRU, and I'm sure there was, and you said, told there'll be a process of negotiation and we'll fund you. And reason what I was planning to discuss with you yesterday, and part of the discussion is happening because we weren't able to talk yesterday. I want to understand more about that. We had 3 items. And we had talked about the duration of the RU agreement, the per BSL fee that the port has in their IRUs. So I'd like you to address all of that.
So the length of the IRU agreement is tied to the duration of the grant. So that's baked in. So the duration of the IRU is identical to the duration of the tracking period of the grant. So that was really straightforward.
And so the duration of the grant is,
I think
25 years.
oh, it's 25 years, okay.
Yeah, BEAD is 10. So in IRUs with BEAD, you'll see a 10-year term, but
Okay.
with ARPA funded through Treasury is 25 years.
That's, we're good on that, okay, continuing then.
so. The issue around the per BSL charge, that I don't recall. Do you know where that is in?
The port has it in appendix C,
Under
Exhibit E.
that changes though under how we were approaching BEAD, and this IRU brings us up to speed with how we were approaching BEAD, which is not to incur or to receive dollars per BSL from the private provider.
Right.
So that is not part of this, because is in a way bringing us up to speed with some of those conversations that we're having with BEAD, and this makes it consistent. There are legacy agreements that the port has where they are receiving per BSL or per connection fees, but that was not part of how we approach it moving forward.
But,
After discussions with private sector and parties.
okay. Yeah, I mean, we never had that follow-up. I mean, it's the first time hearing of that. I'm just being clear. It's the first time hearing of that. And first time the commission's hearing it, we can audit that. I'm certain of what I'm saying.
Can I just interject for a moment?
Yeah.
It would be helpful if you pointed to the sections of the contract that we're talking about when discussing it. It would be helpful for me to just be clear on what we're addressing.
Okay.
Well, that wasn't in this contract.
Yeah, the per BSL,
Yeah.
and I actually searched through the contract for that, and the policy and the resolution we passed about 2 years ago. Explicitly referred to a per BSL fee, and the logic was that. By doing that, we would be able to put through, one of the biggest challenges, John. That we're seeing across the country, and certainly in our communities here, is adoption. One of the things that I'm most worried about is us using a bunch of federal money to build infrastructure to the benefit of the community, and then the community doesn't know it, or the community doesn't take advantage of it. And I think it's in all of our interests for this infrastructure to be utilized. And one of the ways to do that is to have a ongoing digital equity function at the local level that basically does the legwork, pounds the pavement, and gets utilization up of the publicly federally funded infrastructure. That's a benefit to ISPs. It's certainly a benefit to government, because government benefits when publicly funded infrastructure is used. It keeps us all from getting a black eye. And this is a 2-year-old conversation, Eddie. So, and that's why we passed the resolution. And I'm just not seeing that aspect reflected in this IRU. There's a lot that's right here, but I have some concerns about that. So that there's, the duration of, I understand the point of duration, with this funding that's handled. There was 2 other elements. One was a per BSL fee, and the second issue that I also bring up now was the amount of fiber that was held by, because, so if we're gonna have a open access infrastructure, that means a certain amount of fiber actually has to be available in the event that another provider wants to set up shop and have open access. So there was also a guideline of 25% of fiber being held back in the resolution we passed. Is that reflected here in this IRU in any way? Of how much is held back for open access?
Chris, do you mind if I comment, or Andrew?
Yeah.
John,
Okay.
please go ahead.
Whidbey Telecom is a utility, with Washington State, and we also receive federal funds to operate our utility. And part of that agreement is that we will have an open access network. So Point Roberts is in our ILAC area, and therefore we are required to be open access. So that's not a new requirement for us.
Okay, but what does that actually mean?
Is they're able to use our network to provide broadband service to a customer.
Okay, so let's say I start Point Roberts, and I'm not going to, don't worry. Plenty of other things to do at that time.
Okay.
But let's discuss that Point Roberts Telco, okay? And I want an open access agreement for the new subdivision that my uncle is living in, okay?
Okay.
Tell me what that looks like. What will be the fee that I'll pay? Will it be a direct pass through of what the agreements that are negotiated in the per BSL?
It's in 12.1. It's reasonable market-based wholesale rates. comparable to other service providers wholesale rates in the region.
So what will be your cost?
We would look at the rest of Whatcom County and also Highland County.
You look at the rest of Whatcom County for.
What their
people-
rates are for charging for fiber, depending upon the speed.
Yeah, other wholesale rates, so the other
Yeah.
open access wholesale agreements would be stipulated by the ports. Would be more stipulated by the ports, open access agreements in North Linden, Deming, and so on and so forth. So you'd have to be competitive with that.
That's correct.
Well, no, not just that. And all of the other ISPs that have contracts.
Mhm.
So it would not be just the subset of public availability, it would be the subset of wholesale that's delivered by competitive ISPs as well. You have to
Well,
include
here's
all
the
that.
thing is that there's not very many open access arrangements in Whatcom County today. I would assume it would be competitive with other open access delivery points, not other wholesale delivery points. So I'd like to see this change to be other open access wholesale rates, not wholesale rates. Under 12.1.
I'm not sure that makes a material difference.
So can you make it, just be specific about the change you're recommending or proposing?
So under 12.1,
Yeah,
compared to other open access service providers wholesale rates. In the region. For, and then we can be specific for Whatcom County,
wait, so at the end of the sentence,
in Whatcom County.
I
So-
think the region for the would-be connectivity services though is even bigger than just Whatcom County.
No, Whidbey doesn't serve the rest of Whatcom County, it serves some of the island county.
Yeah, I know, so wouldn't you want it to be comparable to like a larger area than a
And
smaller
Whatcom County would be
area?
a larger, there's not a lot of open access agreements like on Island County or.
yeah, but Whatcom County seems like a narrower than
much
the
narrower.
region.
Oh, we can go to a larger region, we can go to northwest Washington, sure.
Is the idea we should have specificity about the area encompassed by?
And we should say refer to open access, because the whole point of this public money being used is to be able to enable open access. That's the reason that
So you want the word open access in 12.1?
I gave specific language. Wholesale rates
Say it, just say-
comparable to other open access service providers, wholesale rates
Okay,
in the
so,
region, and we can just put a period. And then
so
it's in the
before,
Northwest Washington region.
add open access before service providers. And say in the Northwest region or in
In
the,
the Northwest Washington region. Period.
So just a question, do you know? Like, is it a known fact that making that change will result in like from a data point, that you know it will result in what you're trying to achieve?
Yes,
I just don't know the answer to that question, so I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that, because I'm always a little bit nervous about drafting on the fly and inserting standards when you haven't kind of done the background.
just to give a little bit of background, we passed specific policy. And so, when a specific action comes forward. It's commissioner's job to make sure that the actions are compliant with policy. And obviously now we're doing it on the fly because it's showed up on the agenda. For approval, and so we could delay this approval for till the next commission meeting. I'd be fine with that, and then we could have time to talk it through.
Let's conclude the discussion before we talk next steps.
Okay,
yeah, we have time,
If I may-
can we wait till the next commission meeting to do this?
Oh, I just had a point to comment, if I may. Because again, this IRU is an agreement to carry out the terms of the funding agency's terms through us to the private party. Would-be Tel is required to maintain open access authority under the 96 Telecom Act, and they're the incumbent licensed exchange carrier out on Point Roberts.
We're getting into the level of detail here that we really should have done before this meeting. So I'd love to have that follow-up conversation. If it's not urgent to do this today, let's do it at the next commission meeting.
But I have an extra question. I have an extra question. So this, in 12.1, the fees would be may charge ISPs. It seems like that's set by statute, right? Is that what you're saying? That they're already bound
That
to
is correct.
federal regulations. So no matter what we change it in here, there is a federal regulation that they are bound to, no matter what the language is, right here.
There
They're
are federal-
federally bound to
okay,
regulation.
So there's federal requirements on many things, and then there's state requirements that narrow it further, and then there's local requirements.
But so you think, well, local can't supersede federal regulation?
They can't supersede, but many times federal requirements intentionally are left, giving, more discretion to state and local level, and that would certainly apply to this.
So you think that, and here's my other question, and this is just a language question. Adding the word open access to me doesn't, so whether it says other service providers or other open access service providers, that's the same thing.
No, it's not.
It is, and I'll tell you why, because open access service providers are also service providers. So this is a broader
Okay,
term.
so you're
Then
looking,
you're narrowing
you're
it by
looking at a
adding.
bunch of
word.
different numbers, okay?
I know, but you're narrowing it by adding a word. You're
Okay.
narrowing it
So
to
let me-
open
Let me be
access.
clear. That the nature of open access service agreements is that they are relatively limited and regional, but based on affordability.
I understand that, but
And
what I'm
so-
saying, they're already included. Open access is included.
As
in
part of a
this.
larger population, so when you're doing an averaging of, if you've got 10 numbers. If you've got 3 numbers that are smaller. And you've got 10 numbers, right? If you go to 10 numbers and the rest of those 7 numbers are much higher, the average of those numbers. Is going to be higher with the 10 numbers than with the 3 numbers. And because this is all publicly funded, the whole point is to deliver value to the market as a result of public funding. We shouldn't be competing via wholesale rate of where an ISP provides all the funding to deliver the wholesale access to, that's not a fair comparison.
Yeah, the thing
Where
is,
an ISP delivers.
we
with public
we're in
funding.
agreement on this, except I think it already states that.
It does.
And I would arm wrestle you and fight you, cause I think that's what it says.
Mhm.
It's already included in the language. And again, language is. my
We
thing.
established policy on this 2 years ago, and part of.
I
the
know, I was
policy
there.
establishment- Yeah.
Yeah, and
And you both-
when I knew
so the-
about the BSL thing too, and I don't know, you were like, let's audit it, but I don't know if it was.
And in,
happened
and at least 6 meetings, I've said, hey, when we're getting close to this. And in my one-on-one check-ins, okay, let's talk about it, we're ready to implement it, and that hasn't happened. So I'm asking that to happen between now and our next commission meeting.
So the reason that you're seeing this now is that we just concluded negotiations about a week and a half ago. And this was forwarded to you immediately so that you could have a good look at it and you got as much notice as we got. That it is, there, I can't do better than that. I
Yeah.
can't give you something I don't have. And when we had it, we gave it to you.
Yeah, I don't feel like we're ready to prove this
So,
document yet.
just, if you'd allow me to just, bring us back to order. Don't stress. Okay, just a sequence of things here. I have some questions, some comments on the change you did propose.
Mhm.
And then I want to know if you have other specific wording suggestions and roughly how many. And then we'll talk next steps.
So, yeah.
Well, I guess
There
we'll
were-
start.
there
Yeah,
were 3 elements in the policy document, in the resolution we passed. One was years, there's no issue there. I'm completely fine with what we've done for the term. The second issue has to do with open access requirements.
Mhm.
And to me, this particular amendment that I proposed, and I think you got the language on it, is a last minute lack of consultation kind of kludge to try to address that open access need. The third piece, in terms of a, per BSL fee structure, has not been addressed at all. And I need to do more, discussion with staff, have more discussion with staff. In order to, propose something that's, appropriate for that, to know something that's workable and that's appropriate for that.
And did you have any discussions with staff about this in the last 10 days?
No, Chris and I have a check-in, every Monday. This Monday, Chris, missed it, and he apologized at the beginning of this meeting. Last Monday, our meeting also got concatenated because he had to go and do something else. So the last two opportunities I had scheduled meetings with Chris to go over this. We weren't able to talk.
Last Monday, you didn't have this, cause I didn't have it. I forwarded it to you guys today, I got it.
So,
Which I
okay,
think
it was just
Tuesday or
last
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so,
I mean, regardless, we're gonna have to come to an agreement on these things before it moves forward.
obviously, this is a technical
Yeah,
matter. I'd rather
yeah.
just spend the time with staff to figure it
Well,
out.
but you can't make decisions on your own with staff. We can have the conversation in the open, but you can't direct
Correct.
anybody anyway, so we may
Correct.
as well just
right,
But
have the
But
conversation.
staff brings something to the commission. And if staff brings something to the commission that they feel comfortable with, that's compliant with our policy. Then, and if we know in advance that I don't have any issue with it, then it's going to go more smoothly.
But I know that you didn't get your emails, which is unfortunate, but like the rest of us are prepared because they did give it to us. I've had this for a week. I've had it for a week to
Yeah,
talk
I'm
about.
really being really clear with you. I need you to listen to what I'm saying.
I
We had a
am
check-in yesterday, scheduled, and Chris didn't show up for it. Okay, that's, very clear to you.
But we
We'll
have,
talk
at
about this.
any period in time, we could have discussed in the last week, this thing right here.
We
well, we
Yeah, I
couldn't
mean-
as a commission.
No, we could talk to the
We
staff.
have a recurring
Each of us
meeting
could have
where we
talked,
discuss
yeah.
things like this. And it's Monday at 2 p.m.
But you didn't have the email.
Well, so,
No, I
there-
looked at the packet, I looked at it online, to the website.
okay, so point of order, okay. I just want to keep us on track here. To that comment, I know that Chris and Andrew had a meeting with Commerce related to this at 2 p.m. yesterday, so it was just a scheduling conflict, and maybe there was misunderstanding about that you had a meeting scheduled. Granted, the point is that you did not have the opportunity to discuss this with staff, to bring your concerns before. Regardless of that, this is a very long-term contract, and it is precisely our duty as commissioners to scrutinize it, and it is, I think, entirely appropriate to want to make changes before we vote, and finalize it. Granted, giving all the parties, including staff, our legal counsel, and Would Be Tell the opportunity to offer feedback on the suggestions. So what I would recommend is that your points of concern and suggestions between now and our next commission meeting be shared with Jamie and I and publicly as part of the agenda packet of the next meeting in writing.
Yeah, sure, as a markup, you mean?
Yeah, and then you have time to discuss those things with staff before proposing them formally for our next meeting, but that's 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can't do it all on my own, obviously, if I don't get the time with staff, I won't be able to do that.
Because I think it's helpful for all of us, if we're gonna make a decision on a contractual change, to know that everybody's had time to vet it, because of course this thing was negotiated. And this is just the stage we're at. This is our first opportunity to discuss it as a commission. And
I'm just gonna reiterate, for transparency's sake, we should be having those conversations in public. I don't understand why we're not having them in public.
we'll,
Yeah,
please.
So, my recommendation in any setting like this is for the governing body to identify what they want to achieve. They don't think the language is going to achieve, and not, suggest language, fine, but then that gives staff and legal opportunity to come to first vet that, say, okay, well, you know, how do we achieve that policy goal? And the agreement has to be working with the other parties, so it's not something you can decide now, obviously. But it's good to have the world of what those things are.
Yeah.
So we can put that together and then come back to the commission. I don't wanna speak.
Yeah.
I don't wanna have to staff on that, but that's how I see these
So
things.
Peter,
working best.
ideally what would have happened is that, staff, in their staff report would have come to
Let me
us.
just clarify, and my comments are only forward looking. They're not looking back at all. My comments are only forward looking.
So ideally, there would have been a cover staff report that said, hey, we know that the commission passed 2 years ago, a policy statement. Let's go through that item by item and how we're responding to that policy statement in this IRU. But that's not here either.
Make a note of that. Because I would like to review that as well, in concert with this. Peter, it didn't sound like you were finished with your.
No, that's it. So now I would just recommend at this point, get the world of everything that is of concern. Let staff and legal say, no, we actually looked at it and this satisfies it, we think. Or this language tweak might assist that, all in conjunction with your other party, and then it can be brought back with the world of concerns addressed as best as it can be.
But we
That's
have
how I
to
see it.
decide those as a
Yeah,
group here
exactly.
today, what those things are.
Agreed, so our task right now is to
Provide direct-
agree on what, as a commission, are the areas that we want changes evaluated. And so I had open access, the per self feed structure, and what was
Yes,
the first one?
The first one was a term, but the term has been addressed.
Okay. So
It's
those,
completely consistent with our policy statement,
What is?
the term.
Okay,
those are the two things.
Yeah.
And
It was 25,
25.
25, 25, and 15, if I'm correct. 25 years is what our policy was. 25% of fiber being held back for open access. And $15 per BSL.
See, but we can't set the standard for the open access.
And that's in our records. We can go pull that resolution again. Let's pull it.
Wait, but hold on. Can we can't say that you have to have 25% for open access. It can be more than that, right? It's could whoever comes to them, they have to give a comparable rate to. Whomever comes to them, it could be more than 25%, it could be less, but they have to, no matter who is using it.
Yeah, we
They
haven't-
have to give them the opportunity, no
Right.
matter who.
Right, I mean, we discussed
Yeah.
that extensively, and there's different ways of the reason we got to this 25, I remember who made the comments, which commissioner, which staff person made these comments, but basically we got to the 25 because let's not overly constrain the ISP, let them do what they want with the 75%. And then all we're asking for is 25% to be protected for open access. I thought that was a more, gave the ISP more, liberty, actually. But this is fine too.
Yeah, I mean, I think
This
this is, but
the language I
yeah.
propose is fine too.
I wanna know more
But-
about the language.
And you're right, I would like to have a little bit of time to work on it, because I didn't have that, I didn't have the support I needed to do that, so.
But what I wanna know about the open, and mind you, it's just open access, right? I wanna know how that materially changes
Valid
this
question.
sentence.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it's already included, open access is included, but you seem to think that makes it less competitive. So you think if there's, open access is scrappy, there's a scrappy ISPs and they, are able to do it for cheaper or whatever, they have less money to give, that they don't get a chance, is kind of what you're saying, right? Like they have, but I wanna see if it does make a material difference.
Good point.
Okay,
The
so.
devil's in the details, as we all know.
So if we can look at whether that language changes anything materially, I would love that.
Hmm.
Since we're on the back on this, the language change, as I think I heard it. There, I interpret it as a change of meaning, in part, I think because leaving off. The end of, were you suggesting to leave off the end of the sentence where it says for the would-be connectivity services?
Mhm.
And so.
Yeah, I don't want them to just quickly.
That honestly is where, like in reading it, I think where the placement of a comma could significantly change the meaning of that sentence. And or the removal of that phrase, and where I'm wondering if that was intentional or not, because if it's essentially, because I get, as written, as shown here in this, on the page, it looks like it's saying that they'll have the right to charge the rates comparable to the rates that they provide as would be. And not to competitors.
Okay.
So,
Well,
so that's a defined term. Would-be connectivity services is a defined term. It's a type of
Should we do a
service.
special meeting then?
It's not
instead?
defining the region.
But is it for rates, is it rates in the region for the would-be connectivity services or rates in the region for the would-be connectivity services?
What?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean,
Right, is it an area of land, like, is it a land area, or are we talking specifically
would-be-
about their services?
would-be connectivity service does not modify the term region, if that's what we're talking, if that's the question.
Okay,
It's the region. And then I understand what you're saying about a period, but it doesn't modify region.
It's not region, I mean, I guess, is it, are we referring to, is the intended meaning is that comparable to any other service providers' wholesale rates in the region, right? That's the intended meaning?
that was what I took from it,
Mm-hmm.
and not specific to what they offer.
Correct.
So in designating that at the end of the sentence, is that is that referring to what they're charging rates for?
Yes.
Okay, because one could also read it as
Yeah, right.
comparable to, I guess,
Clear.
well, I guess if
Why not?
other service providers wouldn't have rates for the would-be connectivity services, so maybe the.
But sure,
No,
I
this
thought-
is where I agree, this is ambiguous.
Yeah, but sure,
Yeah.
I thought we're talking about either postpone to the next commission meeting, or I'm
okay.
also open with a special meeting, I mean, so.
I think we just identified a point where maybe slight tweak for clarity, and where, as far as what you'd proposed, some of the feedback I heard was that it wouldn't change the meaning or wouldn't change the intended meaning, but if we had, clarity of language that makes clear the intended meaning, all the better, as long as everyone is okay with
Yeah.
what we're proposing. And it sounds like you weren't objecting to like the idea of that he was expressing, it was just whether it was necessary.
Whether it's necessary, yeah.
And the objective, if I understand, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's to maximize open access for the lowest rates possible. I mean,
That was my spirit, that's what I
boiled
got from the spirit of this, but
Yeah. Yeah.
devil's in the details.
It doesn't have the word open access in it, and that could be helpful for clarity.
Well, I have a suggestion. I think Peter has heard a lot, Seth, I think, was the attorney that helped on this, but have you heard enough so that you could suggest some language that would fit?
Yeah.
Then I would suggest that we stop this conversation, get the language back from Peter. And Peter can send that to Andrew or me, and then I can send it out to the three of you so that you could have it to look at.
Okay.
Just don't talk to each other.
But
Yeah.
that's fine, but we can seize the conversations about the fees and charges, but there is this BSL thing that's out there, and I want to have a conversation about that publicly.
Sure.
Can we do that?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this,
let's
yeah,
tie that
I
part
think
up.
we're.
Sure, let's go.
Go to-
Move on to VSL.
Yes, yeah.
I was under the understanding, but then again, I don't know if it was a staff conversation that I had or that we had in public. That we decided on in public. I'm not sure. We're talking about meetings that have happened over the last 2 years.
Mhm.
That we would not be charging this BSL fee. You have a different recollection of that.
Yeah, I remember the resolution there with that.
Do you remember that? So we will have to investigate that.
Right, And again, the rationale, okay, so. The port has that fee in their IRU, and also that's the RU that they're planning to use for BEAD funding too. The term will change, but that fee structure's in all of the port's agreements. We have one IRU, the port has a lot. And we don't know how BEAD still, we're like the only state now. I think a whole bunch of other states got approved for BEAD. We still haven't gotten our approval for BEAD, so Washington State hasn't, so it's still in limbo. But having said that, all of the ports, IRUs have a BSL fee. And I think it's in the community's interest, it's in the telecom's interest, it's in the public sector's interest to be able to provide support for the utilization of this infrastructure more than just having the infrastructure built. And so for that reason, I think it's a good idea to at least homologate, or homologate is a word, standardize.
I don't know what that word means.
So, yeah, so. Have equivalent standards, between what the port is doing and what the PUD is doing.
Okay.
It will make it easier to manage over the long term. We're gonna have the decades of management of all of this, and we want it to be as simple as possible. So that's another thing to take into consideration, is that our agreements and they should all flow the same.
I thought I heard something earlier about, or am I mixing this up, about that being precluded by the BEAD grant or something? Is that, are we?
No,
we're not
B doesn't
precluded?
preclude that, no. We
There's
can do it.
nothing that precludes the fee structure.
No, what precludes it is commercial negotiation.
So my recollection of that meeting is somewhat foggy, but from my recollection, the court fees were collected with the intent of covering the cost of administrating the BSL structure and
Yes.
issuing the lines and all that kind of stuff. We have pushed that off completely. That's not an internal cost for us. So the port, the last one I remember seeing was $7 a BSL. I can't remember, something like that. And my recollection of the meeting was that what I agreed to was that we would attempt to negotiate a per BSL fee. I will tell you that in this particular project, because the costs have ballooned so much, there's been both parties, Whidbey and frankly Puget. And I gotta give a shout out to Brian, who hopefully is still listening. I know he's on, but Puget has actually done what they can to reduce costs as well. And we're still pushing up at the top of everything. So, I mean, the issue is, if you want me to go back and try and negotiate a per BSL fee, we can try. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and it's not just for the heck of it. It's not like we don't want it for the heck of it. It's actually to use that money to support the successful long-term utilization of the infrastructure. That's what it's all about. We want to see, which is a win for Whidbey. It's win for all of our other ISP partners.
So what would that look like? What would we use that money for?
Well, I mean, I thought that was what the steering committee was talking about. You know, that's something that I've heard specific thoughts from Tyler on. We can talk to Tyler about that. But they had specific ideas.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see, like, follow up on that specifically on what the language was agreed upon. Cause that, you know, some of these things like,
It's gotta be a win.
fees, yeah, but you know, some of these are just minor changes, but that's a significant change to this contract. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I was told was $15, but I mean, obviously you would know more. Chris, totally accepting that. I don't know why
Like I
they
said, I don't remember it clearly. It's been a long time. I've got to go back and.
I just wanna revisit all that, yeah. And I don't wanna rewrite it. I'm not the drafter, nor am I the technical expert on the subject, so.
Well, but that suggestion is for renegotiation.
Yeah.
Right.
To address the policy.
So I would take direction from the commission as a whole on that.
Yeah.
I just wanna see what the language was when we had this agreement, that, you know, if it was like, this is what we wanna charge for BSL, or whether it was, you
My
know,
recollection was that it would be.
we would
negotiated.
negotiate, you know, I just need more information.
Okay.
May I add one point?
Mhm.
And I don't know if this has been articulated in this conversation well or not, but originally the PUD would own, operate and maintain the network. And we would then be receiving dollars per BSL from the private party for use of those lines. Through the IRU mechanism, we're no longer maintaining, operating the network. So if we want to reserve strands for our use, it'll come down to Wibby's cost to maintain those lines for us. And now there'd be a cost incurred to the PUD. So the mechanism has changed completely. When we originally started down this path and in our original grant application, it was that we would not only own and operate, but also maintain the network. This IRE was pushing all of that onto the private sector ISP.
So when you say IRU, it's important to say that when you say IRU, when the port says IRU, that means two totally different things. So that, would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I would say that we're deliberately not standardizing the port's legacy IREs moving forward.
You agree?
And I remember having this conversation, not that we haven't had the other ones, but I do remember this just because it was one of those like very, you know, passionate, tense conversations that sometimes we have. So that's what I remember, from this. But again, I just want more information on the BSL thing, and this so that we can tease that out.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Do we want to consider perhaps a special meeting next Tuesday after getting more information?
Now, next Tuesday, we have the Nooksack.
That's what I
Oh, in
was,
the evening.
that's what I was thinking, is that's in the
Yeah.
evening, and since we already are, you know, we're all doing a per diem.
I'm fine with
anyway.
either. Special meeting or next commission meeting. I think special meeting might be good to get it cleared up. because I don't wanna
Unfortunately,
make people
next
wait.
week is shot for me.
Okay,
I got Tacoma and.
okay.
So if we wait until the 24th, as I understand it, is there any? I mean, is delaying our approval of this, is there a consequence to that could interfere with the project in any way?
Well, we have to have everything ready to go pretty much by the end of this month. And I think John could talk a little bit more concretely about that, but there comes a point where they have to order the fiber. And we are at that point
Okay.
for construction to be completed by December 1st.
I can do a special meeting in the evenings.
John, what do you feel like? We care about what you think here. I'm just
Oh,
curious.
okay.
Do you want us to
All
do a
right.
special meeting next week, or is it fine to wait the following week to a regular meeting?
I would like the agreement finished 2 weeks ago. Because as Chris was saying, we have to order material, we have to get out bids to contractors to put the fiber on the utility poles. We are really to the end. You know, if
Okay.
we don't get this done, as Chris said, by the end of the month, it may not be a worthwhile project.
So do you,
Schedule them this week if we can, then, for Friday.
Friday could be, Friday afternoon would be doable for me. We'll
100% Zoom, of course, we'll be.
Yeah.
would be over Zoom, yeah. You wanna do Friday afternoon?
I mean,
Works for me.
that's fine
Works
with
for me.
me.
Well, is that enough time to gather what we need to be comfortable making a decision on our
That'll
direction?
be, the big conversation is the BSL, the other stuff is just seeing
Yeah. it's
how the
DSL thing.
language
Right on.
literally affects.
Yeah, well, okay, so open access is a question of clarity of meaning and intent. This is about whether we direct renegotiation, but if I recall, was there not also in the open access issue, did you not also suggest stipulation of a certain amount of fiber being held available?
Oh, we can't,
we
Yeah,
can't,
I'm
can't do
completely
that.
comfortable with them figuring that out. I think what they've already figured out is better to say open access than to say a certain percentage open access. So I'm fine with that shift too.
And just to be clear
we're
on
all-
my open access language is. You believe saying open access. Helps other scrappy ISPs be involved. I tend to think narrowing something, keeps fewer people from contributing.
Mhm.
Do you know what it's like? So we agree
On what the goal is.
on what the goal is.
Yeah, and just how to get there, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so like, yeah, so to answer your
Can I make a
question,
personal observation?
yeah,
In my opinion, Whitney Tel is one of those scrappy little ISPs.
I
that is so
agree with that
positive.
too. Yeah.
And, that's why
Yeah.
we're happy that they're our partner in
Yes.
this. And, I'm glad they're
I
up at Point Roberts because they're serving a community that nobody else even wanted to. And they're in there taking swings at it.
and they've watched the whole struggle and I
Yeah.
applaud that.
Yeah.
So let's do Friday afternoon.
Okay, let's do it. And John, just to be clear, we appreciate you so much and we just want to
Oh,
make sure
okay.
that we're keeping good faith with the scrappy people out there providing
Okay.
internet. Yeah, so.
Well, thank
really
you.
appreciate you. Sorry for, taking up all this time for you. We
That's
just want to make sure that we're doing the best thing for the people in Point Roberts.
and I'm not too sure the BSL fee. I just want to make sure that this area would cover possibly half of Point Roberts. So that means some of the Point Roberts residents would be charged a fee, and some of the Point Roberts would not be.
Got it. That's a good point too.
Okay. Another good consideration.
Yeah,
Okay, so should we throw a time out there? 3:00?
3 o'clock's great
Are
for
you-
me.
Are you gonna be on a train coming back or something?
No, I'll be there.
Okay.
Physically.
3 o'clock on Friday?
Yeah, I'll be on Zoom.
I'll be on Zoom, yeah, and
Yeah, that's great. for
I
me.
guess I just wanna be sure that we do a meeting on Friday that, we're gonna have everything we need, and so I guess whatever's relevant to the decision, if that could be contributed in advance and put into the agenda packet that will be published tomorrow, end of day, is that?
The only thing that we absolutely need in the agenda packet is for that motion that we passed way back when, 2 years ago, for that to be in the agenda packet. And the only other thing that we need is a document that says, here's the policy, here's the IRU, and this is why there's a gap, so that the commission can review that. It's my job to bring anything else as far as facts that I want to share, probably from talking to, I'm going to down there and talk about the PDs, I'm gonna talk to other commissioners. And see if there's anything, guidance regarding BSL fees that is pertinent or useful, or the open access stipulation. I'll just be sharing that, other practices across the state, that's it.
Okay, so,
And as we are preparing stuff for the packet, when you say policy, do you mean that as the same document as the motion or resolution that was passed regarding the open access? Or is that a separate?
Yeah, there was a resolution that had 3 components to it. One was the term,
Right, one resolution.
there was one resolution,
So when you say policy, that's the same thing you're.
same thing. Yeah,
Okay,
and and there had 3 components. One was a term, second was a per BSL fee, and the third was a percentage of fiber that was held back for open access.
yep, thank you. I just want to make sure I was looking for 2 documents.
Joseph, please.
Yes, commissioners, for the purpose of the record here, and Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, but would you guys put a motion forward to table this actionable item for the special meeting on Friday? That way I can note in the minutes that that is what action was taken, because there's been no formal action as of yet.
I'll make that motion.
For sure. First, while we have you, could I just, you sure you got everything in the minutes for clarity as far as what's transpired here?
I will, that's one of the reasons we record, these meetings, but I will just say that discussion was had. And based on that discussion, whatever your motion you put forward is, that's what will be noted in the minutes.
Gotcha. Okay, so, motion?
Well, I'll make the motion just to the table this discussion on this agenda item. For the, tell IRU agreement to Friday at a special meeting to be held on Friday at 3 p.m.
I'll second.
And Peter, did anyone ask, is that for you?
Yeah, I can make
Okay.
that.
Yeah, double check, does that,
I think I'm fine. I can probably rearrange whatever I've got on Friday afternoon.
Andrew?
It'll be a 1 hour meeting too, I think.
Oh, Chris.
Has everybody found the 1 hour meeting? I mean,
Uh,
Yeah,
we don't need to stipulate that, but I'm just saying, I don't want it to go long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, or,
And I want to clarify also, was it online only?
Online only, yeah, that's what I
yeah,
prefer.
Zoom only.
Yeah.
Okay.
this time I'll show up online instead of in the office.
You can come in.
You can show up.
Great,
All
I
in
second
favor?
that, yeah, okay, all in favor, aye,
Aye.
okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And thank you, and thank you, John, very much.
thanks for
Appreciate your
coming.
patience and, yeah, I think we'll be on track to get this wrapped in 2 weeks.
Fantastic. All right,
Well,
thank you
John,
very
can I-
much.
Well, John, could I ask you to
Yeah.
stick around for just a second?
Okay,
We do have one more bit of telecom update.
Okay.
I wanted to share the results of the commerce meeting yesterday with the commission as a whole and with our telecom partner. So when we got the original DAP consultation and had to remove the underground work from the project, there were a number of BSLs that were dropped from the project. The cost didn't go down, but the BSL count did. It turns out that Commerce has to go back to the state treasury department and get their approval. Treasury's initial response was, hey, you're dropping 30% of the BSLs, take out 30% of the cost. And frankly, that wouldn't work. So Andrew and I yesterday had a pretty long conversation with Commerce, brand new broadband director, brand new representative, brand new accountants. Who else was new on the call? They'd never seen anything of this project before. And, you know, which is kind of odd that they've been working on this particular project 4.5 years and they had not anyway. So last night, Andrew sent the information requested over to Commerce. They're gonna transmit it to Treasury with their commentary, and they expect an answer back from Treasury in a week or two. I think they said, yeah, days or weeks.
Days, yeah.
Yeah, so we should know fairly quickly if this project is funded. If the project is not funded, then the discussion around the IRU becomes moot. So, just a FYI,
So we may not know till next week.
may not.
Um,
And Commerce has no say on Treasury. They may not answer for a month. And
we're waiting on the treasury, so this is, we're kind of mission critical, so, oh, sorry, what were?
Yeah, no, go
question?
ahead, no.
It just so happens that since at least two of us will be in Olympia this week, and might have an opportunity to,
Corner somebody.
yeah, I mean, and with Wapuda, other folks may have a read on or have gone through something similar before, and, if we need to just walk into the office of the state treasurer and whatever we gotta do to get this thing not, I don't want this to be stuck in someone's email inbox and whatever.
We might hand them coffee
Uh,
Wednesday morning. We might be handing them coffee Wednesday morning.
Oh, is
But-
PUD Day on the Hill?
It's the day on the, yeah, we're handing out coffee Wednesday morning.
Oh, I thought it was next Wednesday.
So we can help.
There might be someone from, the office who comes to the reception or who knows.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but let's do what we can to get this thing moving and get a read on them and hopefully
Yeah.
not a,
Andrew, John, if you want us to rough anybody up, you just send a message to Chris and he'll get us the names.
okay, will do.
thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
All right, take care.
That's all I have on broadband.
And we don't have any more estimates on BEAD timing. You guys must have seen the latest news that BEAD approved a whole bunch of other states and I was like, oh,
Yes.
on the list. Nope, still not on the list.
Was there like a red blue split on it? Anybody notice?
Oh, I didn't notice.
Oh,
to
God,
be
I'm just
honest.
not gonna pretend I even heard that question.
Oh,
I'm stirring it today.
Yeah, you're stirring it up.
That police is about to slap me.
I know.
Get that filter back in place, she said.
you know she shoots you daggers.
I didn't even have to, I felt it. It's that long glare of death. I've seen it before. It's
Wow.
Wow. She gives me looks sometimes too.
So if,
Adjudication?
if we're concluded with the broadband update, I'd like to suggest maybe we take a 3 to 4 minute recess and then continue with the rest. And just reset here. Does
Sure,
that sound good?
sure.
Okay, we will reconvene at 9:54.
Let's just give Eddie our love that he has to be between us.
Yeah, you did a good job there.
Yeah, you did good.
Thank you.
Yeah, believe it or not,
Thank you, I need a break.
believe it or not, we didn't really like each other.
We like to fight this.
Well, I mean, only because we share the same spirit.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I like?
We do.
Yeah,
We do. That's funny. Good observation. Good observation.
poor Eddie.
Did you hear I had a major theft again?
Well, yeah, yes, that's why I said you didn't get yours.
Yeah, so I was able to get access to something, you know.
How did that happen?
They turned tracking on and they got it. They contacted the police, I think police were more responsive to a local government than they are to an individual.
No,
be honest.
so who took it?
Yeah, you can.
Somebody pulled their automatic veneer back.
When you were,
And just
Riding
grabbing something
around.
out of the store, not riding around, I went into Sierra Trading Post.
oh my God,
For 15 minutes. And by the,
C Street, TV.
oh my gosh,
yeah,
That's where you.
so I will never leave my fingers in my vice again.
yeah.
We all lives.
So, I
So, yeah, so then.
don't even lock my door.
I usually.
Freaks me out.
I don't know.
I mean, you're on plan, I'm in blame, but it's changing.
Yeah, but I've seen.
Yes, I'll eat something.
Yeah, eat something.
Yeah, okay.
I was literally sitting over there.
Strand for a month.
That's what was going through my head.
Yeah, that's about right.
It makes me eat.
That's all right.
Yeah. Like, you're not yourself when you're hungry.
Yeah, it's to.
That's a separate.
When I was young, the joke was the old Jewish one. Eat, eat.
Oh. My family's Sicilian.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. My dad literally. I remember I was my first breakup ever. Oh, so devastating.
Back to your first.
Just absolutely heartbroken. And my dad looks at me and he goes, maybe you should eat something. He went and bought me Chinese food.
When Jody was dating, I had a ponytail. I had hair down the middle of my back.
Oh, I love that.
Well, and then, so the night before, I was supposed to go to her parents' house to meet them. The whole 9 yards.
Market.
We had an amazing morning, and I woke up with my head shaved. And so.
Oh, man.
So I showed up at her house and of course she was mortified. And it was the first time family had met me, so they were all just kind of, okay, whatever. And, they didn't know, but they seat me right next to Jody's grandma. And I didn't realize, well, she did not speak English too good. And so she was sitting there every time. Jody's older brother, who was exactly my age, we were like 4 days apart. He would distract me and then grandma would shovel another plate of pasta onto my plate.
Ah,
I
yes,
mean, a
you
whole
would.
heap of-
Yeah,
Well, and I was a college kid, right?
yeah.
So whatever was in front of me, I was gonna eat. I was eating all of it.
Yeah, of course, as you should. It would have hurt her feelings if you did not.
And so grandma left, and I didn't know this till years later. She said, he's a good boy. He eats well.
He eats good, yeah.
And that was it. I was in the family after that. It's the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
We would eat, my uncles would eat until they would throw up, literally throw up, because it would hurt my grandmother's feelings to have any food left over.
Mhm. Yeah, Grandma Signorelli was the same way.
Never mind.
You do, oh, I got some things. Oh, that's that cool brand though. Cool.
Looks like, oh, we're all here now. It's 9:55.
And adjudication update is the next
All right.
agenda.
We will reconvene and continue the meeting with the adjudication update, please.
I can provide a few things. So there has been activity. Some of this you're already aware of based on email anyway. But just to hit the high points. As you know, the court granted leave to the county to file a motion to extend the deadline and consolidate it with the deadline that's being proposed for the claims to be filed based on publication notice. And the court set a briefing schedule. The problem with that briefing schedule is that it would push a decision off quite a while. So on Friday, the county filed its motion. And yesterday, the court basically, it looks like the court is going to decide that motion, and assuming there's no opposition, would decide it around March 16th or shortly thereafter. And so that's where things stand. That's a better timeline because there would be, if it's time to file, there'd be at least 30 days prior to the current deadline, May 1st. If the court were to not grant the motion. So I know you all have been very much interested in kind of having public information out there about claim filing and the deadline. The deadline has not changed, but there is this motion that's can be determined hopefully earlier than March 16th, but right around that time period.
Okay, my message isn't changing.
Yeah.
But yeah, turn it in.
Yeah.
Despite all of the, I see new things, I think every day on social media, and I hate being on social media anyway, with
Yeah.
new groups and new protests and all of that's fine, but I just want people to make sure that they file. Argue about it later, make sure you get your, do you have any update on how many people have filed?
I don't. I know that phrase has been repeated in court filings that the court said that, I don't know if it's a word, lackluster or not a high percentage, or that
Yeah.
phrase has been repeated in court filings in the last one, I believe.
Yeah, well, and it's really, it's. I mean, it's a little bit scary for me to see all of these different groups who, I know that they have the best of intentions and, but, if you don't file, you're not even gonna be part of the game here pretty soon, so anyway, I don't know what we can do.
Well, that's a really good question. What could we do to help inform and encourage folks to act in their best interests?
Other than telling them, please file.
I mean, as Whatcom PUD, I mean, I understand, like, I mean, it makes sense that we would be neutral on a delay of deadline, doesn't change our internal deadline, because we will be prepared to file well in time. And I don't know, I mean, I guess this is, I mean, maybe it's not our place to address it, but it's something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, well, in any litigation, what I've tried to tell people to, like, any litigation about, like, does SUMAS part of this, or, is this even lawful? Like, any of that will happen after the filing deadline. So the best thing you can do is make sure that you have filed, even if that's just so, they can sue later, but you have to file before you're even part of the game, right? Before you're even legally involved in the whole scheme of things. So that's what I tell people. Any sort of litigation will happen after the filing date. So make sure that you get yourself filed and ready to go. and other than just actively telling people that, like, and I don't know, I don't get involved in social media things, but I mean, but certainly somebody could pop on there and be like, make sure you file, like, you know, any litigation happens after the fact. I don't know. Go to the meetings. I don't usually have time for that, but I guess I could try to get involved in some of these meetings that are happening. I don't know. As Lisa probably knows, because she does our website, it's not like we get a lot of people coming to the website probably to look at what the PUD has to say about it.
We don't have, we have social media accounts, but they don't have a following really. I mean,
Yeah.
I probably talked about that a little bit before.
And just me.
Something that would require a serious amount of investment in time. And to have something of interest, which is a difficult thing for us to have topics of interest that people are actually following along. I mean, I could certainly put something together that's, you know, simply just sort of a slogan about, you know, if you want to object, you file, you know, you have to make yourself part of the process. You have to, you know, engage.
Yeah.
By filing, but I mean, I could certainly create something like that, and run it by Peter, and people could share it out. I mean, we could do that. It's not organically gonna have a lot of, you know, it's not.
And not a lot of
organically gonna have
traction,
A lot of
right?
visibility, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have a large following. We don't have a following.
And we are also litigants, you know, so.
So
yeah.
again, which is why I would
Yeah.
say I would definitely not post anything about it without running it by Peter.
So, when we've talked about this before, what it's, for me, and I've reflected on this for years, and what's always come back to me is, use our relationships with the county council.
Yeah.
To continue to, you know, like if a county council passed a resolution or something like that, or took action to, for public communication, it would be more likely to be covered by the media, and it would be more likely to, have a community impact.
Yeah, I guess
I have a Peter question.
Mhm.
So I do, strangely, because I'm a nerd, have a pretty sizable following on social media. Can I tell people as just Jamie, not as PUD commissioner, just as Jamie, can I make a post that says, you know, lots of people are talking about adjudication. I see lots of, you know, folks out there with good intentions that are talking about litigation, blah, blah, blah. I just want to make sure that everybody here knows that you need to file your claim to even participate in these so can I, as Jamie, do that on my own social media platform?
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, it's contrary to almost every general counsel litigation attorney to ever say, yeah, you know, you're a party
Right.
and put public statements out there on this litigation you're involved in, but this is unique.
Right.
It is unique.
It's-
And so, I would say, with the understanding that anything beyond file your claim, which you're
Mhm.
repeating something is kind of, you're repeating it.
Mhm.
And it's more of a public interest statement. I don't see a problem with that, but.
Should I
but
add a
don't-
disclaimer? This isn't a legal advice
sure.
coming from the Public Utility District. Don't ask me private questions on my.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
okay.
you know, just a reminder, the claim filing deadline is
Yeah.
still blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like to, you know, or I've been paranoid in my career. and I
I'm
still
super
am.
paranoid,
I
yeah.
still am, but this is just one of those where I can't quite think of any bad outcome.
And there is some urgency there. Like I do
Yeah.
wanna make a statement to people that like there is some
Yeah.
urgency here, you
Yeah.
know, like if you don't file your claim.
Yeah. Yeah,
You don't get to participate in any conversations about that later. You have let go of your claim. Okay, I'll
you
think
can
about
say
that.
If you don't file a claim, your concerns won't be heard.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So this is all good food for thought. I'm thinking, at the time that we file our claim, that would be an occasion for us to perhaps issue a press release. Okay, and so, and through that, say, in addition to what we might choose to say in that message, it could be appropriate to, you know, advise others to also file, like we have,
That might conflate more easily,
conflate.
yeah. Then we're combining PUD business with just general commission, as, you know, us as individuals making a statement.
Well, let me be clear on this, so, I mean, I don't. What Commissioner Arnett said is not something I would say, general counsel says I can comment on whatever as long as it's, you know, I know you're not doing that, but.
No, we actually don't wanna get a consultation from you, actually, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I can tell you that things you say, even as an individual commissioner, can be held against the PUD commission. And the PUD as an entity.
Sure.
And,
So,
yeah, and
I don't want what I just said there to be taken to like, really beyond that. Very specific example would be my recommendation. What I would have to think about what you'd want to put in a press release, because again, you're commenting on litigation, and so we just.
Yeah.
As a commission, which has a very different.
I'm sorry, Peter, I took it as a blanket approval.
Well,
Anything that involves countywide litigation, I can just say whatever I feel like.
Oh, man, I can't wait to look at its rules.
Okay, so granted, any discussion about how public statements we make specifically could impact us as a litigant would be discussed in executive session, so we won't do that here. But generally about decisions around, like, okay, just like, I think what we're doing here is just maybe establishing what some options for us might be to consider in the next month or so. And I'm wondering if well, a press release, I mean, it was, what you said about the county council passing a resolution was like, I mean, what that is just like an earned media strategy. That's just hoping to get another little bump where someone who reads the paper sees something. But I think, but the core thing is a lot of the folks who may be well users maybe don't read that paper or aren't gonna just believe what it says compared to what they're hearing from, you know, other people that are trusted messengers in their network. And so, you know, they were served with notice to file, they're hearing conflicting messages. There's gotta be, I mean, I think for a lot of folks, it's probably gonna be direct contact. It's gonna be direct conversations with people they know, or someone knocking on their door maybe to help them overcome whatever it is that's holding them up. And we only have a few, you know, there's only a few months for that to happen. I'm sure other folks in the community might be working on it. Question is, you know, how can we just lend a hand? And I'm wondering if, you know, when we make our statement at the lease, we could, yeah, try to just intentionally use it to communicate raising public awareness intentionally and promote that as individual commissioners as well. So we could have maybe a couple months to work on, you know, our public statements that go along with our filing, and then we could, you know, discuss an executive session, whatever the content would have to be.
I know a woman who works for the PUD that's really good at that sort of thing.
We could, if we wanted some sort of just like public awareness thing, we could also try a campaign like, profile pictures, that people could share out, stickers that say like, I filed my claim, that sort of match the I voted stickers. That would just sort of generate, you know, we share.
Some
them,
visible
people
difference,
use them,
yeah.
Gives you some visibility, and then people can ask, you know, inquire about it, and people just say, well, we're just simply like, you need to file your claim if you're, you know, you need to file your water claim.
So I mean, you're not what you're saying, it's Lisa, what you said is making me think about Whatcom Watershed Information Network.
Yeah, sure.
And if this would be a project that they would want to take on, and then we could support.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
The logic being that they do a lot of public outreach.
Mhm.
And maybe Wynn could put out a I filed sticker.
That's a good idea. You gonna take it to them?
No, I don't, I mean, I'm willing to. I'm
You
totally-
should.
I can, I mean,
Or
I
you
can-
should.
We can handle it.
Somebody should.
we can
I'd be
have-
glad to, I'd be glad to, but yeah. I mean,
We've got people on the wing committee.
Yeah, Rebecca.
Perfect.
Granted, I think, you know, I filed my claim it's a little more ambiguous than I voted as a sticker, you know? Like, you know, what, for insurance or what, you know, I mean, I don't know, we gotta come up with some easy, you can't fit too many words. Water adjudication doesn't really fit on a button. We should figure, you know, leave it up to the PR,
I think you should leave that to the PR.
Yeah.
professionals and spin doctors to come up with our hashtag and, but yeah, I think that's all a great idea. Is there anything else on this today?
Not for me.
Cool, well, how about, let's move on then to geothermal.
The only update I had was the meeting 2 weeks from Thursday. Otherwise, everything is just what you guys already heard.
Great.
You have any other updates, Andrew?
No, I think that's it, but we have confirmation from everyone that the 17th works.
Believe we're all committed,
Yep.
next Tuesday, great, we're very much
Do
looking
you know
forward
what
to it.
do we know what the location's gonna be yet?
Chris, do you know?
No, I
I
don't.
don't.
Oh, I was just assuming it was held at their
It's their
regular council meeting. Yeah.
It is, I just wanna confirm.
Yeah.
And where's that?
They're Trust,
It was just big money.
Yeah.
trust council.
So where the council is, by the high school?
Yeah, I think so, great.
Am
Am I wrong?
is their meeting place? We'll get the
Okay,
address
okay.
confirmed for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, and GM recruitment update,
Yeah, so Lainey now has 11 people that she's in the process of vetting. Yeah, I'm really happy about this. I think you guys are gonna get a good list and she's confident she's gonna be able to give you a short list to, you know, choose who you wanna talk to at our next meeting. So it's moving.
11 people, that's great.
Yeah, now, that, they may not all be qualified.
Sure, yeah.
But
Didn't she say, didn't the last time we had a meeting, there were 6 that she said were good, right? Good.
yeah,
good
well, there were
candidates.
8 that were interested and 6 that look good.
Yeah.
This time she said there's 11 candidates. She didn't characterize,
Uh-huh.
so I'm assuming that there's at least the
At
6.
least the 6, yeah.
So yeah, it's looking,
Do you remember the last time we hired a GM, how many people there were?
Well, we interviewed 3,
3,
and our short list was 6,
okay.
but we had to go back to the well.
Oh,
Meaning we had trouble generating candidates. And the 3 we interviewed were, the commission felt were the only really qualified ones for the
Okay.
position.
and Lainey did tell me that a couple of the people in the 11, I don't know if that's in the subgroup of 6, were from kind of non-traditional backgrounds. And I think you guys would find it really interesting. So more to follow. They may not be qualified, may not make
sure,
a list, but
great,
maybe some really interesting people for me to talk to.
cool.
so, clarity here, so there's 11, they're vetting, it will get whittled down to half a dozen or so.
Yeah,
Most
I would
likely.
expect 6, 8.
And then from there, we'll choose who to bring for an interview but we're gonna see 6 names and, or something about that. Yeah,
Something,
something
yeah.
around-
And I would just recommend that you guys do a preliminary interview, however many you want on Zoom,
Yes,
and then bring
yeah,
less than 5 finalists. in.
yeah, I can get 2 or 3.
And I'd also recommend, you know, going back to our original discussion, you guys have a panel, have a staff panel, and if you want a community panel as well.
Mhm.
And actually run them through three separate interviews, boom, boom, boom. And, you know, maybe an hour with you guys, half hour, 45 minutes with staff, half hour with the community panel if you've got it. And then a quick tour of facilities, just so they get an orientation.
That's a good idea, and it'd probably be a good idea for us to be straight on what we wanna tell Lainey when she the next time she joins us, which I think is that in 2 weeks?
I think
For
so.
an update, most likely.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I gotta go back and look at the original proposal, the timeline's on there.
So what does that, what do folks think of the community panel?
I like that idea, it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think I brought this up when we were originally having conversations that, the best interview that I ever participated in was when, Blaine hired Chief Tanksley. And we didn't have multiple panels, but we had one large sort of, and everybody got to ask a question, maybe it was two, but it consisted of two people from council and, two people that were like part of the law enforcement community, and then two community members, and like, I like that representation.
To have them
like-
all there at the same time.
Yeah, right, and just because it's, like, I mean, I don't want them to feel like they're, like a firing squad, 3 hours of interviews when maybe everybody gets a question or two in a shared space. I don't know though, but I do like the idea of inviting, active community, like people that care about,
One
what's
just
going on here.
simple observation on that, if you have, staff and the commission, and you wanna hold the final interviews in executive session, I think you could.
Mhm.
I think if you invite outsiders into executive session or not fiduciary, then it's a problem.
Yeah,
Did I get that more or less right?
Yeah, yeah, the final deliberation should be an
should
executive.
be, right, the final deliberations, but the community panel just makes recommendations, they don't, they're not
Right.
hiring.
And the same with staff.
Yeah, same, so that sort of open public meeting, that's something that, I mean, we wouldn't be making a final decision then anyway.
Mhm.
It's just to hear everybody's sort of
Yeah.
concerns, but I don't care how it happens, just I'm excited to have that
Yeah,
community
I
and
think-
staff
I think, yeah, I think
aspects.
you do care and.
Yeah, no, I do, yeah, I just want them to feel, I just wanna have the community and the staff heard. And in a way that's also like helpful for the candidates,
Yeah.
that they're not spending 3 hours.
And we should invite
Yeah.
staff into the executive session too.
Yeah,
Some key staff people.
for sure.
And then, of course, I'm thinking that maybe the tour should happen before all of that. And the reason is because I think they'd give better answers if they had a chance to get the orientation first.
Really, the tour, my intent there was simply, we're gonna have dead time for the candidates that aren't being talked to. And that's when you run them out. So you wanna keep them busy the whole time, keep them engaged.
Awesome.
You don't wanna have them just, okay, here's an office, or here's our break room, sit down for the next 45
And
minutes.
scoop,
Right.
yeah.
So it's just kind of how do we structure the time so that it's just constant? The other thing is that I wouldn't be too scared about, doing a firing squad type interview, putting real pressure on people.
Right,
It's the nature of the job. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
that's
can't
true.
put up with it in an interview, you don't want them day to day.
true. So I imagine, Mike Fry will have some suggestions on how to structure things like, so with like panel participants, giving us like a survey or feedback, something that we can take and use, right?
They
or
might, I think that's more something that they leave up to the.
That they leave that more up to
organization.
us, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We
we,
can have a conversation at our next meeting and because we don't have to pin it down absolutely yet, but I think that these topics can get. I mean, we can download them to Microsoft at our next meeting, right? And then they can. Come up with a process.
yeah, and they'll probably just ask us to
So Peter,
decide what we want, and
next time if we have Lainey come in, especially if she wants to share names and stuff, do we have a reason to hold that in executive session?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, that would be executive session. Well, I do think, getting more review from besides the three of us who make the hiring decision,
Yeah.
Input from our peers and, definitely from the staff, and all of that would be really valuable, so, let's, plan to work out the details on that.
So I'm sorry, so yeah, this is to say, here's who we should be interviewing.
Mhm.
And so you're evaluating, that's one of the options for executive
Yeah,
session.
it's both who and how.
Mhm.
That's really
Yeah, I mean,
what
the how-
meeting's about.
I mean, the how, beyond names and evaluating really should occur in open session.
Okay, and we can do it both then.
Yeah.
Next meeting.
Sure.
And,
Well, clearly, we're discussing how right now.
Right.
Yeah.
but, okay, so let's plan to have, Lainey join us on the 24th, and, as I understand it, we're still accepting applications through this week, or they are,
Um,
or is it?
I'll have to look at the website, I think it's just open. that they continue to accept applications until we fill the job.
Oh, okay, I thought it was February 13th or 16th or something.
I think I gotta go check the website. They usually say first review on.
Right, yeah, but they're.
It's not closing it off, it's just letting people know that, hey, if you want the first
closes,
round,
yeah.
here's your best bet.
Okay, and we're about 4 weeks since the posting went out. It's great. Glad we're getting a lot of interest. This is good news. We'll plan to discuss that next meeting, and
Great.
ready to move on. Let's hear our next update.
And we don't have any new
No.
customer update.
Okay.
You don't have to, and a design or cost estimate, yeah.
Okay.
Did the agreement get signed by them?
I haven't heard that it has, so my assumption it has not.
Okay,
But as I understand, next action will be you'll bring a draft contract to us
Mhm.
so at the time that's ready,
it'll be obvious. that
it'll be,
Cool.
yeah, it'll be in our packet. Okay,
And I think it'd be reasonable for ALA to defer until all the permitting issues that they've had gone to the examiner before they make a decision on this. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that they would backburner this issue until they get through that one.
Which is, end of March. Or
Is that
middle
when
of,
that rolls through?
yeah,
Yeah, so it could be a ways off.
okay,
I recall there's a deadline of.
I think that we have to move faster than that in order to meet their construction deadline. So, thank you for that. So I will circle back with ALA and.
Yeah, I think if I recall correctly, the hearing ended Friday. Not last Friday, the Friday before. And it was about 30 days from that, so.
Yeah, I
It'll
think
be
I
middle of
remember
March.
seeing, March 19th rings a bell. That's when he wanted final briefs, or March 13th, whatever that Monday is.
Okay,
I think they wanted
so
final
then
briefs.
it's good, I am right, it's end of March, I mean.
so you think we just won't, they won't wanna move it in front of us until then, or that would be after we, if we approve something, then they might wanna hold off on signing it? Like,
Well, they better,
Could be either,
either, okay, it's just gonna be staff will be working on it.
right?
they haven't signed the MOU yet, even, right?
Right.
Yeah, so,
Well, they signed the initial MOU.
Yeah.
okay.
But
they
it was a
didn't-
non-binding.
It's a letter of engagement.
Yeah, so we're rewriting the MOU to make it binding.
Okay.
That's what I think has gone over to them now.
Okay,
And they're. And I understand they're sitting on it right now.
okay, reasonable.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. New business. None, okay.
Yeah, we have none.
Got it. Wow.
We'll move to commission reports, beginning with Jamie.
Yeah, nothing exciting. I'll be attending online PUD meetings. Yay.
Okay,
I wish I could be down there with you guys. The day on the hill is really fun. I really appreciated all the times that I've done that. Atul and I handed out coffee one
Yeah,
morning
yeah.
and it was a lot of fun. We got to talk to a lot of people, so a little bit jealous that I can't be there this time.
I'm wearing black, so all the coffee fills on me, it will be
Nice.
noticeable.
Excellent choice. Yeah. Did you do this last year? I can't remember. if you
I did last year, yeah,
Yeah.
I served the coffee early in the morning and.
Yeah. Yeah, the last time I went, Deborah and I had trays of coffee and at first
Yeah.
we were just walking out and talking to people and.
That's great, that's great. Great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
And you're, so you're doing the board of directors meeting on Friday,
I
right?
will be doing the board of directors meeting on
Okay.
Friday. I'll also be attending the water committee online if it happens that Cause work is a little crazy right now, we have with our gala coming up. If
Okay.
it turns out that I can't attend that, I will you're the sub on the water committee, wait, you're the sub on the water committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know, if
Yeah,
if
that's
it turns
my
out I can't
letter, yeah.
attend that, but generally I'm there.
Okay,
Okay,
I haven't,
Uh,
sorry, you go ahead.
I guess I'm next, but, well, no, I mean, if you wanna go for it. Yeah,
I'll
you're
go
ready to
first, yeah, I've
go.
got a, I was hoping to attend, BBC, I'm really glad you went in person, Fred, thanks for the update, that was very, very informative, so. No, I got my computer back, so, you all may know I experienced, a theft.
Amazing you got it
Um,
back.
And magically, the PUD staff stayed on it and got it back. And I'm still shocked, because I've had lots of things stolen. And that's the first time I've gotten something back, so,
Wow, and yeah, that never happened.
Don't mess with the PUD.
yeah, apparently the PUD is not to be messed with, so. Good job,
Our
PUD.
security's tight. We're.
Yeah,
we'll-
I texted you what, it was at, it was later in the evening,
One
and,
night, yeah,
yeah,
we got after it and
right away, like it was like a minute afterwards, I was like, yeah, okay, I lost a bunch of stuff, but I can replace that, but I do not want that PUD in the wrong hand, PUD iPad in the wrong hands, so.
Yeah,
So, did they do some kind of scan to make sure nothing was problematic?
oh, yeah.
Okay,
And just so that you guys know, the IT department has loaded software on there so that it is literally locked. And if they turn it on, it immediately pings us with the location before they can log in.
yeah, that
And it
stuff
won't
really
even let
works.
them log in. It has a sign that comes up that
Right.
says this is a PUD.
and that happens as soon as we tell you that it's missing.
That's right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel really cool right now,
Yeah.
like a secret
Cool,
club.
pretty cool experience.
Whoever stole it apparently just tossed it under a dumpster. A good Samaritan found it. And contacted us because they turned it on. They charged it up because it wasn't charged, and they turned it on and said, call the PUD, and so they did that. We met them down at, the Bellingham Police picked it up at Target down at the mall, and I met with the Bellingham PD and got it from them in the parking lot. It was great. We had IT down at the same time chasing after the individual, and we had a little Keystone Cops thing going on. It was fun.
Oh, wow.
They don't have to self-destruct anymore.
No,
Mhm.
no, that was gonna be bad.
That was next.
We were really
Yeah.
concerned about confined spaces.
Since I started bike commuting in 2014, I've had 3 bikes stolen. So,
Maybe you should write Whatcom PUD on the side of.
yeah, I actually yeah, but anyway.
Put our gang
That's,
symbol
I
on
don't wanna
it.
get in my personal stuff.
You could put a tracker on your bike.
And I have stories about that too.
Yeah,
I'm glad to share stories.
did you lose anything though?
Yeah, I lost some stuff for
Or
that,
something?
yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
My logic is that I probably save a couple $100 a month by commuting, so I can afford it, so.
Yeah,
But anyway, back to PUD, I'm, also going down to Olympia, Eddie and I are carpooling, and I'm gonna take the train back on, Sunday. I'm gonna, from, Olympia after our commission meeting's over, I'll, head down to Portland to enjoy the weekend there, dance some tango, and then come back on Sunday, so that's looking forward to this week, and, see you all online, on Zoom on Friday at 3, so,
that sounds like a good plan.
yeah.
Um. Well, I will also be going to Olympia, headed down this afternoon, we'll be staying through Friday. Take our Zoom meeting from there, I'm gonna attend. The reception, I didn't sign up for coffee duty this time. See if they, I didn't wanna be committed to it, cause I wasn't quite sure my schedule was gonna be, but I'll be there and do the luncheon and the commissioner education roundtable and our committee meetings on energy and government affairs and communications on Thursday. And hope to see if we can, find who to lean on in the treasurer's office while we're at it,
Exactly.
or, maybe chat with our
It's like
representatives.
or shake them down, is that?
Yeah. Yeah, we need to. there's gotta be.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know people,
Don't worry about it.
yeah, we
We
got
got it.
friends
Go,
in the
we got it.
building, well, you know. Anyway, yeah, what else?
I did have one thing I just remembered.
Oh, yeah, you can do it.
Well, I was thinking about, so our, our auditors want us to provide proof when we physically travel to Olympia. And I'd like to, now, I'm gonna use a new word, I'd like to homologate how we, approach that challenge, so, so what I did for the last meetings I went down for, I asked the staff who put it to just send a copy, because they do that, they scan them all in. Copy of the sign-in registries on
Mhm.
committee meetings. So I'm bringing that up because that would make your life simpler too, because your name will be on them too. The sign-in sheets for the committee meetings, and then they can just email them to our staff. And then that's our proof of attendance down there.
I don't know what the auditor needs on that. But
So,
I asked Annette about that, she said that was fine.
yeah, just, what you ought to do is print it out, and when you turn in your expenses, attach it. That way you're not sending staff to chase after a 2-week-old email that, and then print it out and attach it to your documents.
Okay,
Just make the whole package.
so maybe have staff send it to us and then we can include it. The logs. Not our staff. We'll put it, send us the log.
Yeah, and then you print it out and include it with your receipts and
Yeah,
everything
no,
else.
we don't print it, we do it electronically, but yeah, attach it, electronically attach it.
Well, we need paper receipts, remember?
Not for the sign-in sheets, I'm talking about the sign-in sheets, we're not gonna provide the original.
We
sign-in
can't have
sheets.
the original sign-in
I
sheet.
get that. I'm
Yeah,
just saying, print it out
yeah.
and attach it like you do a paper receipt. I'm just suggesting that would save staff time and hassle.
We
That
submit
way the
our,
package
we
is
submit our
complete from
expense
you.
reports electronically. This staff asks us to do that.
I understand that, and you have to put in your receipts on paper, right?
Mhm.
So you're viewing these sign-ins as a receipt.
They are the backup document for the receipts, because the auditor said just the fact that
Yeah,
you're attesting you were there
Just,
and that you've got all the receipts doesn't mean you were actually there. I'm not defending the
the
auditor.
auditor, yeah.
I am not.
Cause it's
It makes-
indefensible.
it makes no sense,
It's
like-
indefensible.
What Annette said, and originally was that I should just provide the agenda, but the problem with the agenda is like, we get that.
Then
Like,
we can advance.
I get
Yeah.
the agenda and that's not proof that I attended.
You know what? The auditor wants the agenda. I'm attaching the agenda on mine.
Okay,
Could
If
we,
they want it
that's
bad, they're
my
gonna get
problem,
it bad.
that's my problem,
So
and
what about when we
it
attend
needs to make
these-
sense to me.
Which
They
is
have
what
an
I do.
agenda.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I just attach the agenda.
Yeah.
so let me just
It's
say,
it's totally stupid.
Yeah,
I
okay.
hate to say, the auditor, just, if the agenda's good enough. Then
Just do
provide the
that.
Agenda, don't mess with
Okay.
logs and
Yeah.
sign-in sheets and all
Okay.
that stuff.
But God forbid, they suddenly say, oh, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Now it's a higher standard. And
well, if all we need is the agenda, that's,
look, as far as I'm concerned, you guys and me, when I turn mine in, we're attesting that we were there.
Yeah.
If that's not good enough, sue me.
Mhm.
But it's not good enough for the auditor. And,
uh, what about minutes of the meeting that show attendance?
they just want
Just.
the
agenda.
agenda.
Yeah, let's just, and
The
let's
agenda.
just,
Maybe the agenda,
yeah.
is that,
Okay.
it sounded like you had heard something contrary, like you needed.
No, I'm fine,
I
mean,
it
Ned is
just makes.
trying to figure out something reasonable
Yeah.
to satisfy an unreasonable
Yeah.
requirement.
Yeah.
Let's not
It's
give
just-
them anything
it's what they
extra.
ask.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
It's just.
Granted,
The auditor.
so while we're on this area, it's occurred to me like how, as far as how we're, billing our per diems and reimbursements when we travel, how cumbersome and what probably a pain it is for Stephanie to have to like, and for us to have to, tally like, a $15 receipt and get it, do it by.
and don't say snack, you gotta say
And
it's a meal.
document and all of that, and what I've heard from some other, commissioners, other PUDs that have, they have a policy where there's just a simple amount that's allotted for travel days, and then you
Yeah, we've
just
been
have that
over
money.
this.
Yeah, before I got here.
No, we did just last meeting or the meeting before. So most places rely, most organizations, most government entities rely on just a standard per diem based off of where you're traveling to, right? That's like if you're in
And many
Olympia,
PUDs
it's
do that
allowed.
too.
And many PUDs too, but also in state statute, if I'm correct. They actually want, the statute says that you have to provide proof of the exact expense.
That's right.
I'll
So,
resend that, that's
Yeah.
my question, I'll resend the memo, and. If there is, if there's an interest in doing something differently, I'll word it in my email. But basically, PUDs are unique, along with a few other
Yeah,
jurisdictions.
maybe I'm just confused by what I've heard.
no,
contrary from
other
others.
PUDs do it, that doesn't mean that it's following the law. Yeah.
Lots of different,
Well,
government entities, you can do per diems and a lot of, but you can't do this.
and the statute is the commission's expenses. So on other PUDs, like when I worked at Snohomish, they were just per diems, for staff, not for the commissioners, because it's different in statute for you guys. Here, we're just doing it all one. However, whatever you guys do, we're doing. So it's just,
But
Well,
that, you are
different.
correct,
It
there
doesn't-
are other commissions that are using just a per diem. And they are not aligned with the state statute. They've made that decision for whatever reason, and they'll have to justify it if the auditors come knocking, but. We
Okay,
are following statute.
yeah, I guess I don't
And it
know,
sucks.
I just kind of feel bad having to like tally up, having to just the work it takes to process, and rather than just. I don't know, so whatever, I'll figure out whatever we can do to make things easiest and, and I'm not, not submitting every expense that I incur.
me
Because
neither.
that's why I believe a lot of that is just covered by our basic per diem. But for, hotel stays and things like that, it makes.
Of course,
just-
that's a-
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't be able to afford to go to Olympia, so,
Yeah,
and, anyway, okay.
maybe you can take down your state legislators while they're there to get the language changed.
There's a lot of little tweaks to
Yeah.
the statute, yeah.
Yeah.
That would make life easier.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
A code structure on the PUD statutes.
Okay, well, did wanna touch on legislation, as we talked about last time. I didn't come with like the full list of the Waputa priorities in front of us to discuss. There's one in particular, I think, the transmission authority, the one we've talked about so much. I can update on that. Is there any bills that you all thought we should talk about before we have committee meetings?
Nah, that is the one that I think it is going to get talked about by us and probably again at Waputa meetings.
Yeah, for me, that's the bill as well.
All right, let's just focus on that then. So what I observed happened last week, there was a substitute version swapped out, through a striker and committee that had been worked on extensively with a number of stakeholders, and Waputa was engaged, and that passed the Ways and Means Committee yesterday, is on track on, still in the a live bill, ready to get on track to get a floor vote by the cutoff next week. And it so there was this other bill, House Bill 1819, that had some categorical like exemptions from SEPA for reconductoring and other, some other, key permitting reform points. That bill died, but some of those key provisions have been worked into 5466 and included. And there was a lot that got worked out between tribes and the bill sponsors as far as like how the certain, exemptions would function and consultation and all that. So we basically have a whole new bill that I haven't been able to extensively review, but we'll be hearing more report outs. What I had heard from Waputa last, we were in Olympia, or I think it was not, the week after Waputa, it was when I was there for Energy Northwest. So I can't remember if that was after our last commission meeting or what, did I report out on this? It probably was after. But basically, even though, Waputa signed in opposed at the hearing, Senate Energy Environment Committee, but they gave a positive comment that was well received, and, you know, more input and red lines and stuff were welcomed and invited by Senator Schumich. And, you know, there's been a discussion, and I don't know exactly yet what their read is on the current version, and it will be discussed, but you know, the Waputa staff thanked me for building that bridge and smoothing out the communication, and that was just one thing I did work on a little bit while I was down there, and
Yeah, you met with Senator Schumich.
yeah. But I'm not sure how happy everyone is with the current version or not, but it looks like it's been significantly changed, so. And
Can you share what some of those changes were?
yeah, if I can pull up like the bill summary here. Um, where is it? Yeah, what's up?
Even just the
I-
spirit of some
I-
of those changes?
I'm just,
Do you
yeah, I
know?
just need to look at.
No. Okay.
And I read them and it was kind of like, okay,
Okay, yeah, let's hear what's your read on it?
that was my read.
Just
Just-
okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's kind of the same.
yeah,
sort of minor changes that don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Impact anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
the main concern that you raised is still the concern that another authority doesn't necessarily improve the situation and potentially makes it worse because it's another authority.
Right.
Okay.
Then that being said, it depends on how it's staffed and funded.
That was always in the details.
Yeah, and well, you can have a director of that department or manager of that department that is just really pro building transmission and gung ho, and even though they're an extra step and all that, they're helpful.
Mhm.
So it matters how you structure it, how you staff it, all that, but yeah, the underlying thing was, when it looked last year like it was gonna become a transmission advocate, that looked a lot more positive. This is more back towards, it's another regulating body, but, how do they start?
But they say that they do say that it's not a regulatory authority, but the fear is that it will be used.
Well, it's not a regulatory authority, but it's a box you have to check. Therefore, it's a hurdle you have to get
It
over,
is a
therefore it's a
hurdle you have to get
regulatory authority.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's just, that's kind of the problem, it's well intended. It really is.
I thought it was supposed to be, I thought the current version was supposed to be like optional, like if utility is just trying to handle their own transmission project, then the authority stays out of it.
Yeah, there was language on that,
Hypothetical, if
but
we,
if it crosses boundaries,
if
that's.
we're
when you end up-
building transmission from Mount Baker to the market. Would we have to check that box?
Yeah, Yeah.
And there's already transmission that exists.
Yeah, but if
Up
the
there.
amount of megawatts we're
I'm
talking about,
assuming a new corridor.
Yeah.
Is big enough.
it's because the amount of megawatts we're talking about, you can't do it for reconductoring or hanging an extra wire.
Yeah, so we'll have to pass all those hurdles,
That's right. 23 years poured into Hemingway.
including a checkbox. I don't,
That is the concern of the whole West Tech thing. All of those 16,000 miles of reconductoring a new line has to be done within 10 years. And none of it has started. And it took 23 years to do just to get permits for the last major transmission project in the Northwest.
Yeah, but it's permitting for utility interconnections and BPA system upgrades, it's not state permitting, that's.
That's all of that.
It's some stages, but that's not like. There's.
All the states that are involved have certificates of public convenience that have to be granted by their UTC. All that, it's all, even for small, just in-county lines. You still need all of that stuff. You gotta go through the planning commissions and all that.
What I wish that I understood about this bill is like, not just who's sponsoring it, but like where it's coming from, like why, like. What is the purpose behind creating the, because there's always that sometimes hidden purpose too, right? But like, what the intention is to create another office that helps by talking to smooth over some things, to like streamline I just don't understand
So
the process.
it's modeled after institutions that were created and have been operating in Colorado and New Mexico, is what I believe inspired it. Who are dealing with some of the same problems and backlog and slowness of building transmission in mountainous regions. And because mountains are a big part of what makes it hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's not,
Mhm.
it's just the nature of our geography. And so, yeah, I mean, it's toward, you know, it's an attempt to address the problem of that it's taking too long to meet the need and the growing demand for power, and we're behind. And also, granted, a large reason we're behind is because the planning for new transmission and system expansions that just naturally does take a while didn't start until way too late. It needed to happen a long time ago. There was reasons for that, and it's starting way too late, and now we're speeding up because it just, you know, we're just years behind with the starting point. And so this authority looking forward over the, you know, the coming decades, it's coordinating between all these disparate, you know, the disparate entities that have a say in the transmission system to identify, plan, and, you know, set forth the projects that need to happen well in advance. So I don't think this is gonna like speed up projects that are already in the queue. I think this is about speeding up the next wave of projects 10 years from now. And so I don't think it's gonna, like, you know, lead to us suddenly, you know, being out in the clear by 2030. But I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm not sure. I don't think it's certainly not gonna solve the problem.
Those in New Mexico and Colorado, is it helping?
I don't know enough about it, honestly.
I'll have to
So-
look it up. I'm interested, I mean, I'm genuinely interested to know, like, you know, and how is it funded? Because like we have a budget crisis, you know, like, so how is it funded? All of those things. And I also just to go back to something Atul said, you know, at the last meeting, like, should the WAPUDA be against it or just be sort of, I can't remember the word that they use when they're concerned, yeah, concerned or not right now.
That's what I felt like, it's like, it's an appropriate place to be.
Yeah, I think and I think
Yeah.
concerned is an appropriate place to be too, because you know, I feel like even you would say, like, if it's pro-transmission and it's, you know, that's very different than the position that it could be.
Can I make a very filters off, sorry,
Do it,
all right.
you have my permission.
They're doing this because real permitting reform is too hard.
I'll sit with that.
No,
To be blunt, that's what's going on here.
I'm agreeing with you on that one.
From a political perspective, I don't think you can get permit reform this meaningful.
I think you probably could. It depends what you're talking about, but I mean, I guess this is where, you know, we just disagree, because I think it's simply I just think it's fundamentally a false premise that environmental regulations are the thing that is like a primary barrier to building transmission or other like utility scale energy projects.
They're a tool that interveners
And
use.
there's certainly, they're a tool that, you know, those who are opposed and fighting a project can and will use, or, you know, and my point is that you could eliminate all of those laws and, you know, like they're moving to do at the federal level, the SPEED Act that passed the US House being heard in the Senate, right? You know, you can exempt NEPA, we're exempting SEPA in this bill, but, you can, you know, repeal the ESA, and you could do all of that, and we will not build faster. I think it could, I don't think that fundamentally gets at the problem. The problem is that there is opposition, and if it's not through those laws, there's other means. And it can be done through, there's local authority, there's, various other means that property owners or impacted parties have through other processes. There's all kinds of things they could do. I think without, environmental review can take a while because it's the environmental issues, of building lines across mountains and water bodies and all of that, where you have to be able to do it safely. So it's not, the infrastructure is not going to fail because of rock slides or wildfires or other conflicting uses or what have you. There's a lot that goes into those studies. It takes a while to do. And because it's not that simple. And that's, cutting all that out is not
I
gonna
don't disagree with you.
make things,
23 years to get the Boardman to Hemingway line permitted.
yeah. I'm just saying, I think it's
There needs to be
bit
permit
of a,
reform.
yeah, there needs to be permit reform, I think, but there's a lot of, I think everyone. It's very much in the mainstream now for everyone to agree we need permitting reform, and then I hear a lot of vagaries about what that is and what that means, and what I hear in Waputa is a lot of, just blaming the Department of Ecology and environmental rules, or somehow blaming the Clean Energy Transformation Act or what have you for these challenges being in place. And I just think it's like a scapegoat, kind of it's misplaced because there's core reasons aside. And so it's just acknowledging that it is a challenging and complex thing to solve, and there isn't just like one bill we passed that's gonna mean boom, now we're lightning speed,
I just wish they could work faster. I get, it shouldn't take 23 years.
No.
I totally think that environmental review is important. And I don't think it should take as long as it is, especially since we already have so much data available to us that it should not work faster.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially in the Pacific Northwest, we lack urgency
Yeah.
for
We
so,
need some-
we're
we
like,
need some-
hey, I got some time on my hands, but and if it's a human problem, if it's a people problem, hire more people. We gotta
Yeah,
work faster.
that does seem to be a big source of the problem, right? It's just
Yeah.
We need more,
the staffing and the procedure
and we need
for
them all showing up at the same
your
time.
connection point.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I think one of the key things, and Eddie, you and I think completely agree on this, although you may not even agree that we agree, but when you look at it, all of the opposition, well, not all, 80–90% of the opposition of any project is local. It's not the Sierra Club coming in and intervening.
right.
And the issue in my mind is the fact that it is all up to local choice. And having anything other than a local choice runs counter to Waputa's kind of stated goals. And that's a problem. I really think that all of the land issues need to be regionalized at least the state level. And there be no local planning commission oversight for transmission facilities or generation facilities for that matter. None, just none at all. And yes, you can have your bite at the apple at the state level and that's it. No local planning commissions, no local zoning, nothing. That ultimately is the answer. And then you retain your environmental review and everything else, but the local people don't have 20 bites at the apple, which is what causes the delay. The Sierra Club's gonna come in at the NEPA-SEPA level. And they're gonna bring up legitimate environmental concerns. And once those are dealt with, they back off. They're okay at that point. But the local people, it's a dog with a bone. They're not gonna let go, because it's gonna be a line through their backyard. And they don't want that. That's the whole point.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other, there's to a certain extent, right? You gotta take the path of least resistance. So, to the extent that we can build things in existing rights of way and corridors, we're doing that, right?
To the extent you can, yeah.
Yeah, and some would question that, do we need any new long range transmission that's, that it is cutting against the grain that way, or are these just, these are short range interconnections from wind project here or there, right?
Well, that's why I forwarded the West Tech study. because that makes it clear that these are long transmission lines that interconnect the region and allow for regional bulk power movement. And that's what's needed in the next 10 years, and it'll be even more needed in 20. And it's not just a wind farm here and a solar plant there and a data center here. It's not that. It's bigger than that. We've come to the edge of our electric system's capability. And it's time we have to build more, and we have to rebuild what's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, I feel like, I mean, and I have no idea, but I just feel like if energy companies compensated the local folks at an appropriate rate, maybe this wouldn't be as big of an issue. I have no idea. I mean, I know that when they built all of the wind farms in the Columbia River Gorge, the farmers were compensated greatly, and they allowed people to build windmills on their grazing land, you know, I don't know what's being offered,
Well, the
but
problem is you got your line running through somebody's property,
yeah,
and they're okay with it because you're paying them, but their neighbors are not. So now do you pay everybody in the county because they might see the line?
It might
Yeah.
not be about money
they
for,
don't like to look at the line.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And you only need one in there that says bullshit, $50 million
Pressure.
for this 1 acre.
And but getting south.
And what do you
I
do?
already have to get the response.
I don't know,
Okay,
but you did so good. I haven't seen the word.
The
He
N word,
did really good.
He did really good.
well,
the filter was up a little bit.
Yeah, you were sliding there just for a second.
I know.
I just wanna congratulate you.
Thank
Very good
I
work.
can still learn.
Of it, but you did not use.
He
Still-
alluded.
No, we're not gonna say.
okay, well, this is, okay, really,
Good conversation, I hope.
a
we
good
continue.
dialogue.
Yeah,
and we'll be doing more of it this week, in Olympia for sure, and, yeah, I'd say I'll say going into, the Whatcom committee meetings, my chief goal, and while I'm there, is to make sure I understand the concerns and sticking points that PUDA has, and try to make sure that Senator Shoemake and members of the House understand that too. Is just to make, the clarity of communication here, and I think there's a lot to be said just for understanding and good dialogue and productivity there. So that's what I'm hoping, and we're gonna see where it lands. I'm sure it's gonna change before final passage. And I understand your concerns on it, and I hope it doesn't turn out as bad as you fear.
Oh, it won't be as bad as I fear, it won't be as good as I hope. It just, it won't. Reality is always different.
Let's keep our expectations very tempered. Okay, that's, I'd say, what else did I have to report? I did want to share, just as a matter of news, that, my, long held, not always so steady job, local nonprofit resources. I've been doing, for the past year, serving on the commission, continuing to work there in a reduced capacity, but it's been challenging, in, balancing schedules, meeting the demands of both jobs, and after a year, I decided that, just looking forward at everything that we have to do at Whatcom PUD, hiring a new general manager and managing that transition, seeing through all of our projects, everything going on with Energy Northwest. I want to be able to give it my all here, and really, fulfill the duties I think that the public deserves, that elected me. So I decided to make this my primary thing, and I resigned from my day job.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna, take the hit and tighten my belt financially, and get by my PUD salary for the time being, and want to just let you know that I plan to be, devoting more attention to my duties here, and not to mean that I don't want to be, hovering over or trying to overly, bother folks in the office here, but I do plan to be in here more regularly, and also to commit myself to more, public outreach and, talking to our customers and other stakeholders and folks like that, and make myself more available than I have been in my first year here while I've been learning the ropes. And so I just wanted y'all to know, that, that's my plan for the immediate future.
Right.
Yeah,
Support you.
yeah. And, I guess that is probably what we need to do today, because, you know, we gotta get going and moving. Is there, do you guys have anything else before we move to public comment? Public comment, anybody?
They've all
I think
left
we
us.
lost him.
Lost them?
They're-
Do we have an executive session?
No, we don't.
Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the order that we'd like to consider today? Seeing,
Seahawks.
oh, yeah, how did
Go
we
Hawks.
forget? Yeah, we didn't really take a moment to celebrate, but it's a big deal. It's a really big deal, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was,
we played a good game.
I got to chat with Chris.
Best
about it.
defense I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
On both sides.
Yeah.
Mothering
Yeah.
defense on
And,
both
and by the way, to the Patriots credit, that young quarterback. He is really something. He's gonna be a star someday.
I made a really good dip. Yeah.
Excellent. And the halftime show was amazing.
It wasn't good. It was an amazing game. And yeah, just so much to celebrate, I think, for everyone in our region and.
We needed a little
I-
boost.
I know, yeah, we did. Yeah, we needed the boost.
We needed
It's
the
good.
boost.
It's good energy
Yeah,
for everybody.
good energy.
And since this is non-commissioned business, we could discuss after I adjourn. So I will.
Yeah.
I will adjourn the meeting now at 11:01 a.m. Thank you all for coming.